Perfect night for baseball here in the state of Texas. Number 5 LSU, the first of 3 here tonight in the lineup for the 5th-ranked Tigers.
Yeah, you look at Jake Fraley, the guy that we have highlighted. Freshman of the week. He had .533 last week. That's not only a conference play, but also over the course of the week. He'll be batting 5th tonight. A catalyst, another guy in that lineup, a good hitter for LSU.
LSU has been a little bit uneven offensively throughout most of the year, but over the last couple of weeks, they have really picked it up at the plate. Parker Ray is a senior. He's 4-3 with a 5.48.
Yeah, this will be an interesting guy to watch. You see the numbers right there. The ERA is high, all right, but he's here now because opportunity has kind of come up for him. Coach had told us when we talked to him this week, it's almost by default that he's starting today, but he likes this guy a lot. He talked about him being a really tough kid, and so here again we talked about it in the open. An opportunity to go up against LSU. You just never know what's going to happen. We talk about he's got the 4-pitch mix. Basically, that means fastball, slider, curveball, changeup. He throws all of them pretty much equally, and we talk about opportunity knocking. Again, in the rotation, out of need more than necessarily as he's earned it. You get a start up against LSU and one of the best pitchers in the country. You just never know what can happen.
Time now for the first pitch of the night, brought to you by Bud Light. Here we go. Parker Ray was phenomenal coming out of the pen last year. Had a fantastic season. A bit up and down this year, but looking to close his senior year out strong, the right-hander. And the first pitch of the game is a strike at the knees, and off we go. Andrew Stevenson, the center fielder, left-handed batter for LSU, checks in at 357, no home runs. He's driven in 24. And a swing and a miss, 0-2.
Good-looking slider right there, already jumping ahead. You got to think for Parker Ray, I'm sure there's adrenaline's up just a little bit higher, pitching in front of the home crowd, going up against the 5th best team in the country.
Breaking ball low and in. Only 2 more series in the conference to go. So 7 games left for A&M after this weekend. So you're getting down to the final couple of weeks before the SEC tournament. As you look at Stevenson, you want to talk about a catalyst at the top of the order. He is prototypical leadoff man, and swings and misses here. Gets by the catcher, but the throw down to first to complete it. So a good start for Parker Ray tonight on this Friday night here in College Station.
And the mistake that Stevenson made here after that swing and miss, he had no idea where the ball was. He actually would have had an opportunity. We talked about with that speed, the opportunity possibly to beat that out and be on first base, but he did not see that ball by the time he realized that the catcher had missed it. It was too late.
So in steps Mark Laird, who's kind of a carbon copy of Stevenson. Lefty with speed, cues it foul. Great hand-eye, good in the hit and run as well.
That's exactly what you want out of your 2-hole hitter, is a guy who can handle the bat and do all those things that you just said. And he is one of 5 lefties in this lineup that Parker Ray is going to have to contend with.
So Paul Maneri, the head coach at LSU, with very good table setters at the top of this 5th-ranked team. Ray over the top of that hard one, misses away. Paul Maneri, 9 seasons at LSU, 32 overall. He's been at St. Thomas, Air Force. Had a great 8-year run at Notre Dame and now in Baton Rouge, and they made the College World Series last year. 8th-season head coach at LSU, and they won the College World Series back in 2009. 2-1 pitch again, cued to the backstop.
That was a good-looking changeup right there, and for Parker, that's impressive for a guy with not exceptional command, confident throwing that changeup behind the count. We talked about the 5 lefties in the lineup. That pitch could end up being very useful for him against those lefties.
Here comes the 2-2. Laird fouls it off against his dugout. Laird came to LSU thinking he would walk on as a wide receiver. Very good wide receiver and defensive back in high school. Tremendous athlete and a clutch guy. He ended up sticking just with baseball. It's been a good decision.
Well, and you have to think, too, for LSU, they love the idea of having a football mentality, bringing that to the baseball field. You don't see that too often. There's absolutely a place for it.
Laird chops it foul again. 2 walk-off hits in the last 2 weeks for Mark Laird, the number 2 hitter in LSU's order. And again, the 2-2. Breaking ball, chopped foul again. Rob Childress, 9th year as the head coach here in College Station. 351 wins, trying to make it back to the NCAA tournament for the 8th straight season. Here comes the 8th pitch to Laird. Tried to check his swing. Field to third. And third base umpire Stephen Hagan says he went around.
And I got to wonder if Stephen Hagan might have got caught up in the noise of the crowd right there, almost as if some of the momentum took him. Let's see, as we watch this replay, at first glance, it did not look like he went. Ugh, that's a tough one. He had a great view of it down at third base. I would, let's see here. You get a better angle. See if those wrists break. Ooh, that's pretty close. The barrel stayed back for me. I don't know. Listen, I'm a pitcher. I want everyone called, but I don't know if that one was necessarily a swing.
The replay always looks worse on those check swings. Always. Alex Bregman takes strike one with nobody on and 2 outs here in the top half of the first. 289 for Bregman, who was the National Rookie of the Year in college baseball last season. The average down a bit, but he's picked it up over the last handful of games. National Freshman of the Year, and some publications said best shortstop in the nation as well.
And you have to think, listen, playing at this kind of program, having that kind of accolade already in your first year, it's got to be a little bit of a lot of pressure, actually, coming back your second year and trying to repeat it again. Coach had told us, not off to the greatest start slumping, but swinging better. Not only the hits, but even his outs have been hard.
Down the left field line, in the air, long run and sliding, but coming up short is the left fielder, Jace Statham. Defense for A&M with Statham, Bratson, and Banks in the outfield. Left to right on the infield with Aleman, Taylor, Burke, and Langford Stein behind the plate, and Ray on the mound. Bregman at the plate, down 0-2. The shortstop for Team USA. The best player on this team. As I mentioned, coming out of the slump here late in the season. Here it comes on 0-2. Fastball outside. Swinging a drive, deep into left, Statham back, and it's gone. Home run, Alex Bregman.
And for Parker Ray, I like the 0-2 pitch. I obviously do not like that 1-2 pitch. You're ahead of a very good hitter, have an opportunity to go for a strikeout. The 0-2 was a fastball up and away, so he's already elevated something. You want to bury something here, but we see a little bit of an off-speed pitch, probably a slider that didn't do very much and just hung out over the plate. That ball's got to be below the knees. When you're facing a hitter like Bregman, he's going to take advantage of a mistake like that. Got to have better location here in the first inning.
Third home run of the season, RBI number 30 for Bregman. And strike one to Sean McMullen, left-handed batting DH. Upstairs, and the count evens 1-1. McMullen at 281, 4 home runs. He's driven in 27. McMullen, the male scholar athlete of the year at LSU last year, making a bid for that same title again this year. 3.7 in kinesiology. Swing and a miss. He's also LSU's nominee for SEC Scholar Athlete. Smart kid and a good hitter in the cleanup spot for the nation's number 5.
And it becomes all the more impressive when he's doing it in the middle of the lineup. He's an impact player at a big program. I mean, that takes a lot of commitment, a lot of time. And for him to still be able to turn out those kinds of grades, very, very impressive.
Packs a lot of punch, leads him in doubles and home runs.
Hometown of Metairie, Louisiana. I actually lived there for a little while when I played for the New Orleans Zephyrs.
Is that right?
That's right.
3-2 pitch in on the hands. First base side and well out of play.
One of my 700 stops along my career.
Oh, man. Yeah, 10 years in the big leagues for you, 8 different teams. Then you were where? Japan, Korea?
Yeah. I mean, when it was all said and done, it was a 19-year career with 11 different organizations, 4 of them twice, 3 in Korea, 1 in Japan, 2 in the Dominican Republic. Yeah, this game's taken me around the world a few times.
Fly ball into right. It's not even mentioning your appearance as Dutch Leonard, the Phillies pitcher in the Jackie Robinson movie 42. Bregman, the shortstop for LSU, one of the top players in the country. Puts the Tigers on top in the top half. 1-0 first inning in Texas. 1-0 LSU. Thanks to that man, shortstop Alex Bregman, a line drive solo home run with 2 outs in the top half. A&M comes to the plate, down a run, and the man who sets the table is Alamont.
Yeah, you talk about a guy at the top of the lineup with that .438 on base percentage. Just 3 for 6 on the stolen bases. Not a big base stealer, but .480 he's hitting over his last 6 games, and he's doing it as a switch hitter.
Aaron Nola, 7-1, 1.40, and opponents hitting 175 against him.
When you look at those hits right there per innings, I mean, that's an unbelievable number. You know this guy's not getting touched. And the strikeouts as well, 95 and 77 innings. We know he knows how to get the swings and misses. And what he has is that 3/4 arm angle. You hear that term a lot. What does it mean? It means he's a little bit off the top, and he's going to get some natural sink by doing it and do some ground balls as well. Learning efficiency. What Coach had told us this week is that he is learning how to finish hitters earlier. He used to go a little bit too deep in the count, took too long to try to strike a guy out. He's learning to finish at bats now at 3 and 4 pitches, which allows him to go deeper in the game.
First pitch of his night is away for ball 1. Blake Alamont, third baseman, leadoff man. 3 for 3 in a win Tuesday night. Fouls it off, and it's 1-1. 326, he's driven in 20. His move to the leadoff spot ignited this offense. It's out of that wide open stance and a swing and a miss. Down in the count.
When you talk about this offense, talk about how good this team is, and we talked about in the open. They are a pitching and defense team. Offensively, the numbers not overwhelming. They sit just kind of right in the middle of the SEC. But a team, again, to be ranked that high. We saw UCLA do it last year. They did it with pitching. So pitching can absolutely get it done. You don't have to hit. LSU not a big offensive team.
Well, Aaron Nola, 5th in the country in strikeouts, begins the night with a punch out here.
Good fastball located. He didn't quite hit the spot that he wanted, but ends up being a really good pitch on the inside corner after kind of working that left-handed hitter away. Good freeze job right there, and a nice frame as well.
Patrick McClendon digs in, takes strike 1. 309 for McClendon. And over below, 1-1. Aaron Nola wastes no time.
And that's another thing. It might seem small, but that's another thing that scouts like to see. Good tempo. Getting the ball back, right back on the pitching. Or we struggle. We complain about guys get the ball back, walk behind the mound. What that does, it keeps your defense sharp. It keeps you in the game mentally. Never like guys that take a lot of time in between pitches.
McClendon pops it up, shallow right. Robertson out, but in to make the catch is right fielder Mark Laird. Out number 2, defense with Fraley, Stevenson, and Laird in the outfield. Every player on the infield has played shortstop, at the very least in high school. With Bregman doing it now. That's, I guess those are oftentimes the best athletes, huh?
And you're talking about your pitcher and your catcher as well. I mean, those are 6 out of the 9 guys athletes. That's what LSU wants, athletes on the field. When you're an athlete and you can play shortstop in high school, you can do a lot of other things in college. You're a corner outfielder in high school, you're not going to be in the infield. So this gives them options, and it's always good to have athletic players.
Cole Langford steps in. We highlighted him off the top. 335, 4 home runs, and he's driven in 37.
Interesting thing that Coach Childress had told us about Langford. He's a bad ball hitter. And what that means is he's good at hitting balls hard that are out of the strike zone.
Swung late, skied down the left field side, and into the bullpen.
A guy who made a career out of that, out of the major league level, was Vladimir Guerrero, if you remember. I mean, he could hit balls 6, 7, 8 inches off the plate. I mean, it was so frustrating because you never know how to pitch a guy who can hit balls so hard that aren't strikes. You're taught to throw strikes and set guys up by throwing balls off the plate. And all of a sudden you're doing it and guys are hitting it hard. It completely messes you up as a pitcher.
Swing and a miss. As advertised, Aaron Nola. 2 strikeouts. Makes quick work of A&M in the first. 1-0 after 1. 82 degrees here on this Friday night in College Station. Not much wind. Perfect early May. 1-0 LSU. The nation's number 5. We take a look at tonight's keys to the game, brought to you by Vistaprint.
And we have talked about already a bunch about Aaron Nola. We will continue to do that as he leads this team on the mound for LSU. D is the key. The left side of the infield, one of the best in the country. Got a couple of center fielders in their outfield, which is also a nice thing to have. And Bregman's back, we talked about in those 6 hits last weekend. Also hard outs this week for Texas A&M, setting the table. The top of that lineup in Alamon and McClendon have done it for them. They need to do that. That's going to be very important if they want to have a chance. Ray of Hope, Parker Ray, with a great opportunity here against a very tough LSU team. And Coach Childress told us, I said, how do you beat LSU? He said it's like eating an elephant. I have never heard that phrase before, but he essentially said it's one bite at a time. You can't look at the big picture. You got to gnaw away at them. So if you're into gnawing away at elephants, maybe you get an idea of what Coach Childress is trying to tell us.
Sure. I had never heard that phrase.
I did a double take, man. I paused. He said it. I paused. I said it, but luckily for us, he explained what he meant.
Jake Fraley at 348. And a swing and a miss against Parker Ray. 1-0 LSU. Bregman with a solo shot in the top half of the first. Fraley they got from Delaware, and he has been a magnificent find as a freshman.
Absolutely. This was a guy that they thought they might have lost in the draft last year. That ends up not happening, and he comes here and he struggles in the fall. He had a rough fall, Coach had told us, and he was a little bit concerned. January comes around, and since then he's been great. Now, he only has started 15 games for this team, but here he is tied for 3rd in RBIs, just to give you an idea of what an impact bat he has become.
Down to the count 1-2 against Parker Ray, the senior. That one in tight. RBI leaders for LSU. Fraley tied for 3rd with 2 of his teammates. And in the dirt, the count goes full at 3-2 in only 66 at bats. Jake Fraley, for an offense that kind of needed a jump start, and say they push the right button. It's punched out here though. Fastball in the inside corner.
Good execution there by Ray. He threw that 2-2 breaking ball in the dirt. Comes back with a fastball and kind of a little bit close here, maybe going for the black. In 3-2, you want to go right at these guys. The one thing he cannot afford to do is walk hitters and get himself in trouble. So keeping his defense on their toes, filling up the strike zone as much as he can. It's good execution, even a better call.
Connor Hale steps in. Hale had a big 3-run shot Tuesday in a 9-7 win against Alcorn State. They were down 6-1 in that game. Many of the backups started the game, but a guy like Hale with a 2-out would prove to be game-winning 3-run shot in the bottom of the 8th. Way behind that hard one.
And it's good elevation on the fastball for Parker. He's not going to be able to live up there. He doesn't throw hard enough to consistently stay up there. But if you set that fastball up, the high one, by throwing the breaking balls down, which we saw him do earlier, he can do it at times. He's got to pick his spots, though.
Goes after one outside the zone, and it's 2-2.
You're in his head, Parker.
They can mix and match on the right side of the infield, depending on what they do at catcher. They have 3 very good ones. So Hale plays second as well as first base for this team. Takes it at the knees for strike 3.
As we watched that at bat right there by Connor Hill, it almost looked like he was guessing and trying to guess along with Parker Ray, because really there was a couple of pitches to hit. This is a fastball. It's knee high, but it's down the middle. And it's almost as if he was looking for something else. When you look from the side, it's almost thigh high. That's a pitch that you really can't let go by once you have 2 strikes on you.
So back-to-back strikeouts. 4 Ks already for Ray. Low and inside to Tyler Moore. He's one of those 3 very good catchers. 271. He's driven in 13. He's the personal catcher for Aaron Nola.
It's nice. You know you're a good college pitcher if you have a personal catcher, because really, I mean, even at the major league level, first guy I think I'd ever heard about it was Greg Maddux.
Yep. That's right.
Eddie Perez was his personal catcher, and that was kind of the joke around the league. But you have to be really good. But we know how good Aaron Nola is.
Tim McCarver was the personal catcher of Steve Carlton back in the day.
And again, if you talk about a frontline arm, I mean, that's what it takes. And I actually had an opportunity to have a drink with Tim McCarver last week. I did my first national MLB TV game, and he happened to be in St. Louis, and got to talk with him after the game. And boy, what an honor. You talk about a broadcast legend, and as well as a great player. What a great opportunity for me to spend a little time and talk with him.
One was a talker and one wasn't. When you talk about those two, Carlton and McCarver.
He was great, though, and he, gave me some really funny advice. Here I am doing my very first national game. He's pretty much just gone into retirement, and he says to me, he said to me, which made me laugh. He said, "Don't read the blogs. Don't read what people are saying about you. They don't know what they're talking about." Right. So I'm guessing he had a couple of bad experiences, probably himself, by doing it.
Hey, the higher you make it, you start calling a few World Series, and you start getting the bad pub. I guess it's not such a bad thing. Of course, he's doing, what, 25 or 30 Cardinal games this year. So.
That's right. I mean, I said, listen, I would love to be so good in this business that a lot of people don't like me.
Barr at the plate. Runner holds at first, and a ball away. And 1-1 on Christian Ibarra, the third baseman. Moore awarded a 2-out walk. Gets his lead down at first base. And the 1-1 to Ibarra. Lined hard, center field. And on to make the catch is the speedy Craig Bratson for out number 3. 2-out walk, no harm done. Middle of the second here in College Station.
College baseball on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by Roundup Max Control 365. Kills weeds and keeps them gone for up to a year. By Intel. Look for Intel inside your next tablet. And by One A Day Vita Craves. Gummies for grown-ups.
Time now for the scouting report, brought to you by Intel.
Oh, and here we are talking about the shortstop experience in the infield. I made the mistake of doing that with A&M. A lot of information when we do these games. But you look at all those guys in yellow. All guys that had played shortstop at one point in their career. When you talk about athleticism, again, it gives your manager opportunity and flexibility to move guys around. You love to have a good athletic team, especially in today's college baseball. As the power comes down a little bit, it becomes a little bit of a small ball type of baseball. More doubles, more bunts, more hit and runs. You want to have guys that you can run around the bases a little bit.
Very good athletes on this team, clearly, and LSU, a team we talked in the open about the consistency going after their 22nd SEC series victory in the last 28 of the last 3 years. I mean, you look at the conference record, 12-8. It's solid, right? I mean, they're third in the SEC West right now, but not spectacular, yet the respect factor to put them in the top 5.
Yeah, and I think that what it tells you, first of all, is how strong this conference is. Unbelievably strong. And when you look again at the offense, which is middle of the road in the conference for LSU, good pitching has a chance to beat them. And there's very good pitching in this conference. You think about Vanderbilt and some of the other schools that are throwing some big arms out there. They have a chance to neutralize this offense. And so I think that's why you see the record that's not necessarily spectacular. They're not going to run away with their division. It's just not going to happen, not in this division, not in this conference.
Nick Banks swing and a miss. And Nola already with 3 strikeouts in the 4 batters that he's faced.
Good-looking slider right here. Started in below the hands of a left-handed hitter. That's very good location on a slider. Very tough to get to for lefties. And if you're wondering how serious we are about Aaron Nola, I just got a text from a friend of mine who is a scouting director for a Major League Baseball team saying, how does he look? What are you seeing? Everybody wants to know, and I'm sure there's plenty of scouts here tonight. But this guy, when you have top 10 potential, when they're talking about you being in the top 10, all eyes are on you, especially this time of year as the season starts to wind down. Everybody wants to know, how does he look? Is he getting stronger? Is he getting weaker? How does the stuff look? How's the snap on the breaking ball? How's the velocity look? I don't know. I don't see a radar gun anywhere. But it looks good, man. I like what I've seen so far.
Ryan Burke slaps one into right field for a one-out single. First hit allowed by Nola here tonight.
That's a really good job by Burke, and probably a good strategy. When you talk about a guy who has as many strikeouts as Aaron Nola has, you're probably going to try to get to him early because he knows how to finish hitters. So if you see a fastball or even an off-speed pitch that looks like a hittable pitch in the strike zone, go ahead and be aggressive and get after it early.
So Burke is aboard and Troy Stein the catcher. Stein takes strike one. 3 for 4 against Texas State in a win on Tuesday night. 289 the average for Stein. You're certainly not afraid to pitch out because of the control of Aaron Nola. In fact, as the pitch is taken for strike 2. In fact, earlier this year, Paul Maneri pitched out 3 times to one batter with Nola on the mound.
When he told us that story, I mean, that is fascinating. That is something you would never see at the professional level, but he feels so confident in the command, in the control. He used the word impeccable to describe how good that control is. So he gets ahead of a hitter, 0-1, 0-2, and to do that 3 times in a row, and he said he got the runner, which you know was a moment of pride for him to outsmart the other team doing that because no one is anticipating that third pitch out.
Bouncer to third, a bar to second one. Robertson on to first. And it's a double play. Nola rolls through the second. 2 complete, 1-0 LSU. Friday night here at Bluebell Park. Olsen Field, this stadium renovated prior to the 2012 season. So 3rd year in a stadium which essentially looks brand new based on those renovations, and certainly one of the crown jewels across college baseball.
Now, this place is gorgeous, and for some of these guys that will go and play in the minor leagues, that get drafted and play rookie ball and get on buses in Butte, Montana, it will be a step down. This place is nicer than places that they will play in the minor leagues.
Kramer Robertson check swing back up the middle. He may get aboard at this. Tough play, but they got him. Logan Taylor to Cole Langford for out number 1.
And I'm with you. I thought this was going to be a base hit once we saw this ball chop over Parker Ray's head. Good concentration here, using the glove. Great throw, and even out by a couple steps. I mean, it wasn't even close. Excellent job by Logan Taylor.
Taylor, a sure-handed shortstop. So back to the top for Stevenson. Strikeout victim his first time tonight. He lashes this one deep into center, but back to make the play is Bratson. That ball got up there and kind of died.
Sounded good off the bat, but listen, this is a pretty big ballpark at 400. We see pretty much to dead center, and obviously that one did not carry very well. Even the one that Bregman hit, he hit it hard, and it just squeaked out of here.
You don't want to get me going on the bats, do you? not in the 3rd inning.
The greatest thing ever, man.
Oh, man.
Just jealous they weren't doing it 20 years ago.
First pitch is strike 1 to Mark Laird. We went from rocket launchers to bats, quite frankly, that just don't have a lot of pop. And I think at some point soon, college baseball is going to take a look and somehow find a happy medium.
You know, I think so, but ultimately there's a couple of things at stake. One is, of course, you know, making it baseball where it seems legitimate and guys are not just taking half swings and hitting opposite field home runs. Safety is also an issue, and that's something that's become pretty prevalent in the major leagues. We saw what happened to Aroldis Chapman taking that line drive off his head. And so knowing that guys can hit the ball harder, basically with less effort and less skill, that has to come into play when you think about the safety for your pitchers as well.
But the other side is, to me, when 4 and 5 hitters are laying down sack bunts to make sure you get that first or second run across, because it might be all you get, that to me isn't the way baseball was set up either.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't love the bunt anyway, to be quite honest with you, unless it's going to be late in the game or maybe you do it for a base hit. I don't love it as a sack, certainly not from the middle of your lineup. So yeah, there's definitely, I agree with you, some kind of happy medium in there, but it also forces teams to be a little bit better.
Mark Laird took it down and in, and the count goes full on the number 2 hitter for LSU. 2 outs. Nobody on here in the third. A solo home run in the first by Bregman, the only scoring so far tonight. Popped up, third base side, foul territory. Alaman puts it away. It's a 9-pitch third inning for Parker Ray. 1, 2, 3 in the third. Down goes LSU as we head for the bottom half. Number 5 LSU coming in third place in the SEC West Division. 34-11-1, 12-8-1 to begin the night in conference play. 6 national titles for this program. 16 times to the College World Series. Went to Omaha last year, and their last national title was 2009. Obviously one of the preeminent programs in college baseball.
Absolutely, they've done it consistently, and really they keep a lot of guys from Louisiana. You look at that roster, yes, there's some guys from out of state, but there's a lot of talent there. And this is the place you want to play. You're from Louisiana, this is the school you want to play at.
Paul Maneri, the head coach, joins us now. Paul, what do you think early on in this game? I guess let's start with Aaron Nola on the mound.
Well, I think he's throwing the ball exceptionally well. You know, our leaders are being our leaders right now. Aaron has really charged the mound. He's attacking the hitters. He's really spotting up his pitches. His stuff's good. And we've got a nice double play ball there. And then Alex Bregman came through for us with a 2-out home run. So you like to see in the big games your leaders step up, and they have so far.
Coach, you had told us on the conference call that we had that Alex Bregman was swinging the bat better, and certainly that seems to be the case. You talked about the 6 hits last weekend, but also just the hard outs. What is it that's going on with him maybe that wasn't happening for him earlier in the season?
As you know, hitting a baseball is the single hardest thing to do in all of sports. And, you know, everybody that's ever played the game goes through it. And you just got to stay the course and keep your positive attitude, and that's what he's done.
All right, Paul, we appreciate the time. Go get him.
All right, thanks, guys.
1-0 bottom of the third. SEC baseball here on CBS Sports Network tonight. The first of this key late season series with A&M trying to climb in the standings. Back in the rankings here, and LSU looking to put the clamps down as one of the favorites for the national title again here in 2014. And Aaron Nola has had Friday nights on lockdown as Logan Taylor takes it for a strike. He had 10 just magnificent starts in a row. I mean, he was awesome. And then against Tennessee last Friday, 5 2/3, 5 runs. That to me isn't a bad start, but by his standards, it was like the guy finally showed he was human.
Well, that's the penalty for setting the bar so high.
And down goes Logan Taylor hard after striking out. That right leg just collapsed on him.
Yeah, it looked like he might have hurt his knee. Something happened as he stepped. As we watch him take it here, a little bit of a check swing, and we just watch his knee just give out as he goes down. It was his back knee, his right one. So it might be really unfortunate to see. I've never seen that before. We even see how his foot's in the air right there. It almost looks like it got stuck, and ooh, that hurt.
Looks to be in considerable amount of pain. Logan Taylor, the shortstop for the Aggies, sophomore from Houston, Texas, just down the road. 6'1", 195, and a heavy contributor on this A&M team.
Okay, as you watch the replay, you watch that back knee. Something gave out, or hopefully it's not as serious as it looks, but it's like potentially something snapped there in his knee. And you talk about how important of a bat he is to this team, leading this team in doubles with 14. And as we had that conversation about bats, doubles become so much more important these days. And who are the guys that can go gap to gap? And those 14 doubles far and away lead this team. It's not even close. So this would be a huge loss for A&M right now.
We're in the home third. 1 out, 1-0. Take a break and be back with more after this. Logan Taylor, sophomore shortstop, helped down the dugout steps and back up the tunnel on strike 3 right here just moments ago here in the bottom of the third. That right leg just gives out.
You see him grab his knee right in the front, so you start to think it's a patella tendon. You know, we're just speculating and guessing, but this is obviously something serious as we saw him get helped off the field. Now we'll see a pinch hitter here.
It was actually strike 3 on him. Yeah, so Chase Statham with 1 out, nobody on, shows bunt. The 8th place hitter in the Aggie lineup, Statham, left fielder. 274, he's driven in 13. And fouls it straight back. So Taylor, a strikeout victim, and on strike 3, hurt his right leg and helped back up the tunnel. So 4 strikeouts now for Aaron Nola. And the 1-1 to Statham.
You know, the important thing I think for A&M when you lose a key piece like that, and you're going up against a guy like Aaron Nola and a good team like LSU, you can't afford to let it get you down. It certainly is a big loss for them early in the game, but still have to find a way to bounce back. Not let you bring the team down a little bit, because when you lose an important guy, man, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good in that dugout for those players and for that coaching staff. And so find a way to not let you bring that down, not let it bring you down. Keep the energy up.
Now Childress and the Aggies, 10-11 in the SEC to begin this weekend. 28-18 overall. Programmed to the College World Series most recently in 2011, but 7 straight trips to the NCAA tournament. Statham pops it up, shallow left, and out to make the catch is Bregman. And out number 2. This is Ronnie Gideon warming up down in the bullpen, and most likely getting set to come in next inning to play shortstop for the Aggies.
It's a big shortstop right there. I wonder if they'll move that defense around a little bit.
Alamond maybe to shortstop,
yeah,
and play Gideon at third.
Yeah, that build looked a little bit more like a third baseman's build to me, but hey, you never know.
He's a big boy.
Yes, he is.
Gideon, 250-pounder, 6'3" freshman from Hallsville, Texas. Craig Bratson with a swing and a miss. 2 outs, nobody on here in the home third. 276 for Bratson, who is 16 of 17 in the stolen base department this year. Good luxury to have as your 9-hitter. He slams one into left, right at the left fielder, Fraley. 1-2-3 in the third. Head to the fourth, 1-0 LSU. 1-0 fourth inning. We caught up for some sounds of the game during batting practice with Alex Bregman.
Oh, back in your home state, you might not miss a ground ball this weekend, huh? How do you think the freshman Kramer's going to do in his debut back in Texas?
He's going to have a day, baby.
Have a day? Yeah, I'm going to go with having a day.
Back in his hometown.
Yeah. He's got a lot of family here. His mom.
Look at Matt.
Oh, rangefinder. Got some. How many double plays today, Kramer? I'm going to go with 3. Nola's probably going to strike everybody else out, right? That will play, Eddie. That will play. That'll play.
Oh, man. See, he seems like a teammate that you'd love to have.
Well, you can almost see the confidence. And listen, we talked about what he did last year. That's a big year and a big program. And to get that kind of national recognition, you have to be somewhat confident. Now, we talked about how well he's been swinging the bat as well in that first at-bat that he had. So right now, everything seems to be going right for Alex Bregman. But comfortable, having fun, involving his other teammates. Got that microphone on, so maybe he hammed it up a little bit for us.
Oh, we would hope so. He was phenomenal as a freshman. National Freshman of the Year. helping them to Omaha again last season. Goes opposite way, a fly ball to right. And a catch made for out number 1 by Nick Banks.
But even that at bat right there, yes, it's a line out and it goes in the scorebook as an out. But we're seeing him swing the bat well. And he's doing it to all fields. When you talk about right-handed hitters driving the ball to right field, you know that their swing is right. It's a lot of times when you're struggling and you're in a slump, you're pulling off of everything. But certainly for him, Alex Bregman seems very comfortable. And those are 2-line drives. One goes out of the ballpark and one goes right to the right fielder. But both very good swings.
This one was ripped foul down the right field line by Sean McMullen. McMullen flied out his first time. Showed you there that Gideon now comes into the game to play third. Aleman moves over to shortstop as McMullen takes it high. And there you go. Logan Taylor, we will certainly hope for the best. He went down in a heap last half inning on a strikeout. Right leg giving way and was helped off the field. So Aleman from third to short. Gideon in at third base. And McMullen. And the count now 2 balls and a strike.
About 7,500 umpires here at the game wanted that to be called a strike, but that pitch was off the plate. It was a little bit.
The 2-1 from Ray in the dirt. And 3 balls and a strike.
So far, so good for Parker Ray. Pitch count a little bit high coming into this inning at 52, but he's done a good job. This has really been the test for him now. Second time around, going through the middle of this lineup. If he can neutralize them again one more time, you like your chances of him getting deep in the game.
Hit hard, diving play to his right. He's safe at first base. Fantastic effort by Ryan Burke, the second baseman.
This was a great play. This ball was hit hard, fastball right down the middle. As we see McMullen pull it. Look at Burke. I mean, full extension. He did a good job, got right up, stuttered for a second, but even that, I don't think it's going to make a difference. The speed of McMullen right there beats that out. Good play, but nothing you can really do about it. I don't think there's anything he could have done differently that he would have had him out.
So base hit for McMullen, and now Fraley, who's batting .459 with men on base. This one gets away from the catcher Stein, and up to second base goes Sean McMullen.
And I was kind of wondering where they're going to even put McMullen in motion, but obviously that comes out of play now. You get a runner in scoring position. And you start to wonder if Parker's getting a little tired here. That ball, he's trying to go away. It ends up being down and in, so he yanks that fastball just a little bit. It's a tough play for Troy Stein. Tough ball to block when your pitcher is missing on the complete opposite side of the plate.
It's ruled a wild pitch. Fraley, with a man in scoring position, takes it upstairs. You take into account the added pressure up against a guy like Nola, where you know he's not going to give up much, if anything.
Absolutely, and you give up that first run in that first inning, and that's something you don't want to do for a guy like Aaron Nola. And so you feel like everything has to be perfect. And you have to be very careful with that mindset, because if you're thinking perfection, it's impossible. You're not going to be perfect, and sometimes you can overthink, and you're trying to be too good, and you start making mistakes. And so for Parker Ray, it's about trusting your stuff, remaining confident. He's done a pretty good job so far through the first, where we had 12 hitters now in this lineup. Don't try to change anything. Don't think you have to be any better than you were before you came into this game.
And now 2 balls and a strike on the left-handed batting Fraley, who had a pinch hit 3-run homer Tuesday in the win. Struck out his first time tonight. McMullen down at second, 1 out here in the 4th. And strike 2.
That's a good-looking changeup right there. As you see, Fraley almost tried to turn in as if he was going to try to get hit by that pitch. But it fades right back over the middle of the plate. It's a dangerous pitch, but if you get that lefty to give up on it early, you're going to get away with it to that side of the plate.
The feeling this is a pretty big pitch early in the game. It's the hot-hitting Fraley. And the count goes full.
You want to be very careful here. You just talked about a guy who's swinging the bat well in Fraley. You don't want to just give in 3-2 and throw a strike to throw. Be competitive still. Go for a corner. If you miss, not an issue. You set up the double play. You just got to be very aggressive with your next hitter.
Here it comes on 3-2.
Nice.
Guy looking. Fifth Ray strikeout.
And that was very similar to the 2-1 pitch. And again, he misses his spot. He's trying to go away, but he misses it inside. That ball started the ball most of the way, comes back in and catches the inside corner. That's a big strikeout in a big situation.
And there you go. That's one of the perks of Bluebell Park. The train that pops in from time to time. A bit like Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, I remember those days as a kid. I grew up watching baseball in the Bronx. Seeing the train go by in right field, you could catch a little glimpse. It's not nearly as picturesque as this. You're going to see a lot more train here at A&M.
Connor Hale takes ball 1.
And the interesting thing now, what we're seeing from Parker, of the 5 strikeouts, 4 of them have been looking. And so a lot of times that tells you guys are having a hard time picking up the ball.
Good cut that time, fouled straight back.
You remember Connor Hale in his first at bat, we saw him take that fastball that was really just above his knees. A guy in scoring position now. Yes, your team is up. You want to see him be aggressive. I don't think he'll let a strike, especially a fastball, go by at this at bat.
And a check of McMullen down at second. And the 1-1. Swing and a miss on a heater.
That was a good-looking fastball there. We saw some nice downward tilt. We haven't seen that consistently from Parker Ray, but he gets up high, drives that ball. This one actually finishes just below. That's a good-looking pitch. And you see Hale way behind. When I see a swing like that, very careful. I don't throw him something soft in the zone. He has shown you that he is not comfortable against your fastball right now.
Got him. 6th strikeout for Parker Ray. LSU leaves a man in scoring position. Middle of the 4th in Texas. Bottom of the 4th on a picturesque night here in College Station. Cole Langford mic'd him up during batting practice for A&M. More sounds of the game.
It's another day.
Another day, another dollar.
Blake Aldemon's a gamer. Dude just gets after it. All game. You can expect the best from him. 24/7. Love him to death. Hey, baby! Aaron Nola's an unbelievable pitcher. Gonna be a good opportunity, and hopefully we can scratch a few runs against him.
Nothing so far. Langford will be third up here in the home half of the 4th, down 1-0.
With what we've seen from Nola so far and the way he looks, it's going to be tough. This 1 run very well could hold up.
Top of the order, and Aleman takes ball 1. Only 1 hit so far for the Aggies against Nola. And he was erased on a double play. And 1-2 now on Blake Aleman. Catch.
That's a good man right there, doing the right thing.
Yep.
Good slider right there.
Down on strikes is Aleman. Nice work, huh? Look at that.
Yeah, not one of our guys.
Director Mark Grant says they were running for cover. Called strike, 0-1.
We saw in that last at bat as Nola finished it, Aleman with the slider One of the guys that I talked to from Baseball America, John Manuel, had said that his slider has gotten better as he's gone along, and that's always a good sign to see things getting better as you get closer to the draft. That's something that scouts will look for. Talking to him, he had told me Baseball America has him at the highest, probably 4. A lot of teams looking at him as potentially their backup if they don't get that #1 guy that they want. He's right there, maybe just a half a notch below. He was one of the guys that told me he sees him going probably, top 10 at worst, which is it's a nice thing.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays. I mean, the draft has changed a little bit as far as bonuses go. They limit them now, but still potentially a very nice payday coming for Aaron Nola.
Glendon takes the ball. Well, you were the 9th overall pick for the Reds, so.
That was 100 years ago.
I'm sure you're still sitting on that $50 million signing bonus you got.
Something like that. No, that one went away pretty quick, and different times back in 1994.
McClendon on the ground, a second. Kramer Robertson for the second out. Time now for Duke Game Right, brought to you by LG. Duke Game Day Right, and 4:30 to 5:10 for A&M BP. Then infield outfield practice from 5:50 to 6. Bottom of the hour, team intros. It's the A&M pre-game routine.
Rob Childress running a tight ship here, as you always see in college. Well, that's one of the nice breaks about going to professional baseball. That infield outfield, scratch that off the list. You might do that once or twice a year.
I got to tell you, though, for a former big leaguer, pitched for a long time for a lot of different teams, had a lot of success. When I found out today, you were talking about the cameraman giving the young fan a ball. When I found out you rode, a 3.5-hour plane ride from L.A. to Houston and sat in a middle seat so a mom and her child could sit together, I have a newfound respect for you.
Hey, man, you got to do the right thing. I'm not going to tell you that I didn't have second thoughts about it. As if I'm being honest, when she asked, and your daughter was not young, if you're young, of course, but she was about 15 years old, and just kind of gave a big sigh and said, all right. So while I did it begrudgingly.
Langford, foul territory, and Bregman the catch. A&M quietly in the 4th. We head to the 5th in a 1-0 game. Beyond center field, home of the 12th man, Kyle Field. You see the cranes there. Over the last 2 years, they have spent $450 million on renovations, and the capacity will go from 82,000 to 106,000 as Tyler Moore with a gap in left center, but on the run to make the catch is Bratson for the first out here in the visitors' 5th. Now, Kyle Field, certainly one of the atmospheres in college football, and having Johnny Football around for the last couple of years certainly doesn't hurt.
I mean, it's amazing to think. I mean, obviously he hasn't done it on his own, but what he's done to this program recently, and you see things like this happening, that you get an expansion at that dollar amount. That just shows you how powerful a program can be. A nationally recognized program in the SEC is football's unbelievable. But we got some good baseball going on over here in the shadows of Kyle Field, and just as much excitement as far as I'm concerned.
Sure, 7 SEC teams in the top 20 of the RPI. And virtually, when you look at the top 60, and the RPI is subject to change virtually on a daily basis, but everybody but Missouri is up there. You're talking 13 teams right around the top 60, give or take. Shallow right, and the catch by Nick Banks. 2 quick outs here in the 5th. Well, the NFL draft is right around the corner, and this year's college class loaded with talent. For a full breakdown of all the available linemen, tune in to Inside College Football Draft Special, The Big Uglies, coming up next on CBS Sports Network.
If I can say Johnny Manziel, that'd be awesome. Just another reason for him to be America's team and Texas team. Be a blast.
We were talking about Manziel. Cole Langford has his opinions, telling us in batting practice that is certainly who the Houston Texans should draft. #1 overall, Johnny Manziel.
Good job here by Parker Ray, really taking care of business. As we get to the bottom of the order, it becomes very important. Maybe a little bit of pitch conservation. So far, just a few pitches to get through this inning. Very nice job.
Check swing, went around, and Kramer Robertson. 1, 2, 3 quickly for LSU. At the top of the 5th. Robertson, the son of Baylor women's head basketball coach Kim Mulkey, but tough at bat that time.
I tell you, we get to see it in a replay, and so we get to be very judgmental. Hard to call in full speed, but I'm going to have to agree right there, Robertson. I don't know if that was a swing.
Very good pitching here tonight in a fast-moving game on Bluebell Park in College Station. Halfway through, and LSU leading 1-0 on a first-inning home run by their shortstop Alex Bregman. Finals about to begin here. Texas A&M students, just a few more days and nights to kind of blow off steam to get ready. And the head coach of the Aggies, Rob Childress, joins us now. Rob, Parker Ray has been very good so far. What's your take on Ray?
Well, he's thrown all 4 pitches for a strike, and he doesn't have any fear. He's willing to go, full count change-up, sliders. It doesn't matter. I mean, less one mistake, he's been perfect.
Coach, you talked about him being a pretty tough kid, a guy that you can count on. How's his emotions been? Has he been able to stay even keel? This is a big opportunity for him. How's he been on the mental side?
Well, I think he's been locked in all night long. Really proud of him. He's gotten us into the game, into the middle of the fight, and see how many pitches we can get out of him, and then go to the bullpen.
How do you scratch out a few against NOLA? What's the key?
Well, we just got to go up and be aggressive to the fastball. You're not going to get many opportunities against him. If we get a couple later tonight, we've got to be able to cash in on him, get a couple of big hits.
Logan Taylor went down early in this game. What is his status?
Well, I think he dislocated his kneecap. We'll look at him again, later, Sunday, Monday, and kind of go from there. It's something I haven't seen before, at least in that way.
Rob, we appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Here was the injury. Taylor going down on strikes, and this was back in the 3rd inning.
And just, almost painful to watch. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen a guy collapse like that in all my years during a swing, and it was obviously something very serious, and we're keeping our fingers crossed and hoping that it's not. And hoping for Logan Taylor who'll be able to come back and still play again this season.
Nick Banks leads off the bottom of the 5th. Up the middle, Nola off the mound and fires to first for the first out.
Best athletes on the field. Now, that was the one thing that Coach told us, even though he did play shortstop in high school. He said he's great at holding runners, not so great on comebackers, which I was surprised to hear, but a very nice job on that high chopper. Maybe it's the slower ones that are a little bit easier. Those hard ones can be tough to field. And one thing here for Aaron Nola, through 4 innings, he has not thrown more than 12 pitches in an inning. He's at 43 now. He's gone 11, 9, 11, and 12 in the 4th, and just 1 pitch to get an out here in the 5th. We talked about in the open how he's learned to be efficient, and he's doing that here tonight.
Ryan Burke with the Aggies' only hit. He's up there with a 1 out. Paul Maneri told us this week that, he's coached so many great pitchers. At Notre Dame, he had Brad Lidge, Jeff Samardzija, Aaron Heilman, who's probably the best of that group. He said Nola is right there, if not better, at this stage.
Yeah, it was interesting to see that comp. I mean, you talk about 3 great pitchers, and maybe at the big league level, Lidge has probably had the most success, I think, out of that group. Aaron Heilman had a lengthy career, but I think he was probably more talking about at the college level at that time. Jeff Samardzija has turned into one of the best in the game, a guy who's pitching tremendously well for the Chicago Cubs. Can't get a win, and he probably won't get one for a while, and he's been kind of the talk, trade rumors potentially for him as the Cubs are rebuilding. But he has certainly turned into an elite level starter at the major league level. So even you throw all 3 of those guys in there, that's high praise.
Let's go, Bert.
And we documented the comparisons to Maddox in terms of that impeccable control. This one in the air to left field. Fraley puts it away for the 2nd out. So we take a look at tonight's Reese's perfect play. And this is in the 2nd inning, a double play. 5-4-3 off the bat of A&M.
Great execution, and we talk about Aaron Nola, that 3/4 arm angle. That's going to induce ground balls. Yes, he's getting a lot of swings and misses and knows how to strike guys out, but really the advantage of that arm angle is when there is contact, that more often than not, guys are going to be hitting the top half of the ball. We talked about the left side of the defense. It's a great combination. When you look at LSU's pitching defense, that's something that we expect to see. We have seen from them all year, and we should expect to see it for the rest of the year.
And it was this man Stein that's grounded into that double play back in the 2nd, erasing the only A&M base runner of the night against Nola. And we are in the 5th with 2 outs. On the ground and into left field, a 2-out single for Troy Stein.
That's a good at-bat by Stein. He hit it hard, but again, same exact thing. Get the top half of the ball, he hit it on the ground. When you look at pitchers and you try to evaluate them, we do this more kind of in the sabermetrics. We're okay with ground balls, because ground balls don't go out of the stadium. And a lot of times, the more ground balls you get, the more outs you're going to get. Sometimes guys are going to poke them through the hole, but I'll take my chances with a ground ball guy all day long as opposed to a guy who lets up a lot of fly balls.
First at bat tonight for Ronnie Gideon. Came in place of Logan Taylor, went down right knee injury back in the second inning on a strikeout. So Gideon comes in to play third. Blake Alaman, the starting third baseman, moved to short. You can see the numbers on Gideon this season.
I got a text from a scout. There's no gun here at the stadium, no radar gun, but they said 92 to 95 he's been early on. That's good velocity from a right-hander again who has that kind of movement with the good slider and changeup to go with it. That is why he's being regarded as such a guy that can go to the top of the draft. Not about wins. It's not even necessarily about swings and misses. Those guys are looking for stuff. When they see 92 to 95, good bite on the slider, pitch ability, throwing strikes, that's going to raise your stock.
1-1 on Gideon. The runner at first. 2 outs. Hallsville, Texas, freshman. It's good to be down in Texas, especially this time of year. Before the hot weather really rolls in. Grounder to short. Bregman up with it. Off balance throw for the third out. A&M gets a base runner, but nothing more. 5 complete.
College baseball on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, the perfect combination of chocolate and peanut butter.
6th inning rolls in. Run on 2 hits for LSU, no runs, 2 hits A&M. Bregman's home run, a solo shot in the first, the only scoring. Well-pitched game between Aaron Nola, junior for LSU, and this man Parker Ray, the senior for Texas A&M, who came into the game with a 5.48 ERA, but he's been on here tonight.
Yeah, and the conversation for us has been about Aaron Nola, but really Parker Ray deserves a lot of credit right here. He's stepped up so far through 5 innings, has kept this team in this game, and is actually matching Aaron Nola. He's got 8 strikeouts. Don't check that, 7 strikeouts so far. It's pretty impressive through 5 innings.
Andrew Stevenson, top of the order. And into right field and down for a leadoff hit in front of Banks. Got a throw behind him. Stevenson back. We'll see if we get a bunt now from Mark Laird, who we've documented handles the bat so well. And Stevenson runs so well at the top.
It's an interesting situation here because Coach had told us that really good at the hit and run and still kind of working on bunting. And so now with the right side of the infield open with a runner on first and your first baseman holding him on, you wonder if they're going to go more for the contact or if they go for the bunt.
Runner goes, hit and run. In the air left. Catch by Statham, hustling back is Stevenson in time. Well, that's about as good as you can do it in terms of a hit and run swing. Just lifted it a bit.
Yeah, you want that ball on the ground, but what he did was he threw him that fastball in. So what he's trying to do is pull the ball to the right side, but it's really tough to do on that pitch, and so he kept his hands in and put a good swing on it. But a lot of coaches would prefer that you even hit a dribbler to third base in that situation because you're just trying to get the runner to second base and with the opportunity potentially to move him to third. So yes, it was a good swing, but not ideal for what you're trying to do in that situation.
So Laird on a liner to left, out. Alex Bregman in. Runner goes. Pitch taken. Throw down to second, not in time. Gets away. And now Stevenson into third base. And he'll be there 90 feet away with 1 out here in the 6th.
And this wasn't a bad throw by Troy Stein, but he wasn't going to have a chance to get Stevenson. It was a little late. The release was a little late. The ball was down. And so this was kind of a tough pitch to handle. You see how he caught it. He tried to make up for time. Almost a little lazy there. The throw was on the mark. But Stevenson slipped right into the throw. And so for LSU, they catch a break as this ball bounces into left field. And Stevenson is allowed to go to third.
Error on the catcher following the stolen base for Stevenson, who's now 6 of 10 in that department this year.
That's a tough break right there, too, for Stein. It's a tough error because he made a good throw, but it just hit the runner in the leg and then kicks, and of course allows him to go forward. And so you see how much respect Texas A&M now has for Aaron Nola as they have the infield in.
And Bregman slams one to the gap in left center. It rolls to the wall. Scoring from third is Stevenson, and a standing double and an RBI for Bregman.
Well, Alex Bregman continues to do it. I know we've already talked about it a couple times, but it's 3 at-bats, 3 line drives. After a slow start to the season, he's just really feeling it right now and starting to get to Parker Ray, who has pitched outstanding up until this point. He's going now around this lineup for a 3rd time. It becomes even that much more difficult for a guy who hasn't had a great season, even though he's pitched well tonight. Good teams, even though LSU isn't particularly strong offensively, good teams find a way, especially after seeing that pitcher 3rd time around.
2-0 LSU. Both RBIs to Bregman. And now McMullen with Bregman in scoring position. Still only 1 out here in the 6th. And off the edge. Held off and took it for a ball.
You think about the emotion for a guy like Parker Ray coming into this game, knowing what a big opportunity it was for him, feeling really good about it, how he is thrown. You got to be very careful here not to let down. A team like this will take advantage of that. Kind of keeping a close eye on second. And watch for Bregman trying to steal.
You know, the fists and foul back. That run, by the way, is earned, even though there was an error on the catcher involved. Single, stolen base, and an error gets the man to third. As Matt Kent, a lefty, warming in the A&M bullpen. And of course, it was Bregman that drove in the second run with a double.
And the reason that run is earned is because the error allowed him to go to third. So you have to assume that Stevenson was on second when that ball was hit. He's going to score on that double anyway. And so that one's an easy call. Now, had he been, not stolen or goes to second on an error, that's a little bit of a different situation, because you have to assume he's at first. But that's an easy call for that to be an earned run, despite the error.
McMullen checked his swing again, low and away. 3 balls and a strike on LSU's cleanup man. Ball 4. So first and second, 1 out, a run already in here in the Tigers' 6th.
Now for me, I go talk to Parker Ray right here, give him a breather, unless there's a chance that Matt Kent is going to come into this game right now. I at least go out and talk to him, let him catch his breath a little bit. Try to walk him through this inning. You're still only 1 out, an opportunity now for a double play. Don't let that walk bother you. Get focused on your left-handed hitter here. Execute a nice fastball down and away and see if you can get the ground ball and end this inning on 1 pitch.
Fraley has struck out twice tonight. A foul ball, strike 1.
You know, and Coach Childress told us that he would play matchups, and so it looks like he has his lefty ready. So surprising that he hasn't brought him in right now. But the one thing that is a little unusual too, as we see, it's now he's going to talk to him. So
interesting.
I'm not a big fan of this necessarily, because if there's any kind of strategy here, I prefer that it happen before the at-bat. He's already thrown 1 pitch, and maybe there was something that Rob Childress didn't like.
Childress, the pitching coach as well on this team, and known as one of the pitching minds across the country in college baseball. He comes out with a count of 0-1. 2 men on, 1 out here in the 6th. 2-0 LSU. Game 1 of this 3-game weekend series. A&M trying to get back to 500 in conference play with a win here tonight, but down 2 runs. Still hoping to get back to the NCAA tournament for the 8th straight year, but they got to make a charge here late.
It's going to be tough for them. I think they're going to end up being relying on that RPI and trying to get that at-large bid. I don't think they're built to win the SEC tournament. You never know. I mean, certainly stranger things have happened, but that's kind of the reality, I think, for them. And so these games, even though, listen, it's a tough opponent, it's LSU. scratch and claw and find a way. What's important for me here for Parker Ray is that mentally he does stay focused. You can't let this inning get away from you. Two runs is already a bunch for Aaron Nola. You can't let it turn into 4 or 5 and let this be a huge inning and let him just close out the game.
The pitch was already thrown, so it's 0-1 here on Fraley. Bregman at second. Time call. He was going, too. Both runners were. Bregman and McMullen off of first as well.
And it just seemed like even since he had hit that double that he looked like he was trying to steal that base. I don't love it necessarily trying to steal third base with a left-handed hitter that's up. The catcher's going to have a really nice look. It's one thing when you have a right-handed hitter in there and he can't see as well, and that throw's a little bit more difficult to make. But for me at this point, I'm looking at my 5-hole hitter in the order. I want him to swing the bat. I don't want to run into an out at third base right now. I am playing for the big inning. On the opposite side, we talked about Parker Ray trying to avoid the big inning. If I'm LSU, I'm playing for the big inning right now.
We haven't seen a pitch here in a while. Still 0-1. First and second. Here it comes. Grounded foul past first. You talked about A&M's RPI. This week they are at 38. Think about that. This just tell you the SEC is so phenomenal. Again, 13 teams, 13 to 14 teams in the top 62 in the RPI. A&M, who's 10 and 11 in the conference, second to last in the SEC West, is 38th in the RPI.
It's amazing. This is a tough conference. This is the place you want to be there. You go up against the best. Obviously, opportunities to go into the NCAAs and get to the College World Series. This is the conference you want to be in. It certainly helps if you have professional aspirations and you're a guy on the radar and you're going up against some of the best competition in the country. That's a big draw as well, this conference, and beautiful ballparks. I mean, we're seeing one here tonight. It's just an unbelievable atmosphere.
Fraley down on strikes for the second out.
That's the third time for Jake Fraley. Just not enjoying at all seeing Parker Ray as he elevates the fastball. We talked about it. There's times he can do it. He has to pick his spots. That's the right time when you're that far ahead in the count where you can afford to go above the letters. And for Jake Fraley, just not seeing the ball well at all. Very uncomfortable at bats for him.
Connor Hale steps in. First and second, now 2 outs. And he's struck out twice. Takes ball 1.
And he's looked particularly bad on fastballs. And so now as Parker Ray starts to become a little bit fatigued, you wonder how much of that fastball is still there. But for me, Connor Hale's bat just looks a little bit slow. He's behind that fastball. I think the mistake here would be an off-speed pitch for a strike. I think you're going to be pitching right into his strength.
Hale swings through that pitch, 1-1. 8 strikeouts tonight for Ray. You mentioned the SEC. We talk about how dominant it is. You're a guy that pitched at St. John's, cold weather place. Just such a huge advantage for these teams down south and out west. I mean, it's not even a comparison.
No, you pop outside for the first time when you play in a Northeast school and you're pasty white because you haven't seen the sun in 7 months. And you go down, and I remember our first trip. My first year at St. John's, we went out to California and played Clemson. They had already played like 20 games.
Yeah.
That was my first start of the year. And I only tell you that story because we beat them. You know, I'm not going to bring that story up if I don't get the win and beat them. But it is difficult. It's very tough. But, you know, guys find a way. We're seeing more and more guys come out of the Northeast.
You found a way to shoehorn that.
Of course. I'm not going to tell you about the game I got crushed in. That story stays in my back pocket.
You really shoehorned in the part that you said you got the win.
Of course.
Game too.
Big moment for me. It was I tell you what, it was the first time I ever got a call from a scout after that trip, and he told me I hit 90 miles an hour. It was the first time I'd ever heard that in my life, so you never forget that kind of stuff.
Top 10 pick. You were for the Reds.
Heads up.
Back our way. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Have you caught one yet? Any baseball game you've done?
No. And I'm the guy that gets out of the way.
Me and you both. I'm under this table. I don't care how long I played the game. I tried it once. I looked ridiculous trying it, and I said, never again, man. There's no way.
It's amazing when baseballs cost like $12. People work really hard. Like, people dive over seats and rows.
You can have your $12, man. I'm out.
A big pitch on 2-2 instead of check of Bregman at second. 1 run in here in the 6th on an RBI double by Bregman. 2-2, 2 outs. Ray trying to work out of the jam. Give the A&M bats a chance to chip away at Aaron Nola before it gets out of hand. Good cut again by Hale.
And this is, I love at-bats like this because it's the third time around. It's a big situation. Parker Ray has grinded through these 5 2/3 innings so far. Connor Hale has struggled with the fastball, as we talked about. Is he finally starting to catch up? Is he going to cheat a little bit, knowing that he's been behind that fastball? And if he does get an off-speed pitch, well, he's done. But maybe he should be just sitting fastball and hoping he can catch up to one. That last swing looked a little bit better. But this is the cat and mouse game you play. If you're going to throw an off-speed pitch, make sure it's a ball below the zone. If it's a fastball, make sure it still has something on it.
Again, a check of Bregman.
I don't love that there. At this point, 2-2, I think you're going at your hitter. Unlikely he's going to steal in this situation.
Ray against Hale. Big moment in this game. And again, the 2-2. And into the seats.
And again, it was a fastball. He's a little bit late. We're seeing more contact now, some foul balls, but you still see that ball going off to the first base side. And so now, for Troy Stein, he goes out, and they're going to talk about it because they want to make sure they're on the same page. And like I said, if it's an off speed, if it's going to be that slider, make it below the zone, sweep it a little bit. Don't throw it for a strike. You might get away with it, but it's just the most dangerous pitch in this situation. If you're going to throw that fastball, for me, keep it in. Don't let him get his hands extended. He's just not getting to that fastball right now.
2-2, 2 out. 2 men on in a 2-0 game. And Hale laces one into left, a base hit. Bregman rounds third. It's booted. Bregman scores and into second base slides Connor Hale with an RBI and a 3-0 LSU lead.
Well, Connor Hale, he did not hit this ball hard, but exactly what I just said. It was a slider or a curveball. It was up in the zone. It was for a strike. It allowed him just to get the bat on it, just enough with that aluminum bat. As you see the replay here, looked like a curveball or a slider, just away, just high enough. If you're going to throw that pitch there, bury it. And I'm sure he was trying to. A mistake he made right there. And like I said, didn't hit it hard, but Connor Hale gets the job done. And what I think ultimately would be a pretty big situation.
Single RBI and an error on the left fielder, and that'll do it for Parker Ray. Unable to get through the sixth. Matt Kent, the lefty, enters for A&M, down 3-0, and inherits base runners at second and third. Left-hander Matt Kent into the game for Texas A&M, sophomore from Waco, Texas, with a 2-0 record. 3.38 ERA.
And the thing that really sticks out for me as I look at these numbers, the 33 hits a tiny bit high, but I'll trade that off for the 4 walks. You're looking at a sophomore left-hander that is going to go at hitters. He's going to give you a chance. I'll take that every time. The 23 strikeouts to the 4 walks is an outstanding ratio. So now coming in, inheriting in a second and third situation with 2 outs. Going to be facing, it's going to be Tyler Moore, correct? So it's going to be a left-handed hitter that he faces. So playing situational matchups like Coach Childress had told us. An opportunity for him to end the inning. You really can't let this game go along any further. You cannot allow LSU to score these 2 runs. I think with Aaron Nola on the mound, yes, he's been sitting on the bench for a while, and you wonder about him getting a little rusty. I'm not too concerned about that, but more importantly, giving him a 3-run lead is like giving most pitchers about an 8-run lead.
Parker Ray went 5 2/3. He threw 96 pitches. 37 balls, 59 strikes, and had 8 Ks. Rolling along nicely until the 6th inning, 2 runs home. The double by Bregman to drive in a run, and then Hale drove in the 3rd run of the game. He's at second base after the error on the left fielder, and McMullen is at third.
I really would have liked to have seen Parker Ray finish that inning, especially with the fastballs. We talked about that last at bat, but more importantly for him to finish it. To go 6 innings, allow 2 runs against LSU here on a Friday night, I thought would have been a big boost to him. He still should be very proud about how he pitched. This was a good game by him, gutsy performance. I know it's probably not everything he wanted, hoping he could give his team a lead or keep them in the game, but he's given them a chance. I mean, it's going to be tough now, but at least he's giving them a little bit of chance. Much better effort than I think we expected based on the numbers that we saw coming into tonight.
Aaron Nola, we haven't seen him out there for a while, but he has been cruising tonight. Now staked to a 3-run lead. It could be lights out for A&M if the Tigers get any more here to tack on, as Tyler Moore takes ball one. Lefty-lefty matchup against Matt Kent.
Unless they're going for the ice strategy by making him sit on the bench for what seems about 25 minutes. But when you're young, it doesn't bother. It starts to bother you around 30 or so. That's when those long gaps start to catch up with you a little bit.
1-0 pitch is a called strike with McMullen at third, Hale at second. 2 runs home in the inning. And the 1-1 offering. A good stop by Stein.
And you got to give a little credit to Stein as well. I mean, he's done a good job back there. I like the game that he called outside of that off-speed pitch. That it sounds like that was something he wanted to do. I don't think he wanted it in that location, but other than that, he's done a pretty good job blocking balls and really working a pitcher who has struggled through a good outing against a pretty good lineup.
Yeah. 2-1 to Moore.
Wondering now if we'll finally see the lefty-on-lefty breaking ball. That's usually always part of the lefty specialist repertoire. We've seen all fastballs up to this point. Maybe try to sweep one away here. You got an open base. I mean, you want to get this guy. But you have an open base. You can afford to go for the strikeout.
Reached out, tapped right side. Burt charges, fires not in time. Run scores. Second one trying. And Hale is out at the plate for the third out. But the Tigers plate one more, 3 across, all told here in the 6th. And LSU takes a 4-0 lead. McMullen had scored. And then Hale getting a little bit too aggressive, perhaps. Cut down. 4-0 LSU. The Tigers 4 runs on 6 hits. A&M no runs, 2 hits, and 2 errors. Take a look at the Bayer Vitakrames game summary, and Alex Bregman started it off with a bang in the top half of the first.
Yeah, hanging off speed pitch, and we've talked about how well he was swinging the bat coming into this series, and he has not disappointed in 3 at-bats.
Meantime, Parker Ray ends up giving up 4 runs, but first he had 8 strikeouts.
Yeah, early on through the first 5, he's very solid. We see good execution on the off-speed stuff, good downward angle. He got into a little bit of trouble in that 6th inning. I think the 3rd time around, LSU hitters finally got to him. But other than that, I thought this was a really good outing for Parker Ray.
Bregman a double drives in the 2nd run of the night, and then they stayed hot in the 6th. Hit LSU. Connor Hale, the looper to left, kicked by the left fielder. 2 more runs in. And a 3-run 6th inning. And LSU now leads 4-0 as we head for the bottom half with Jace Statham to lead it off for A&M. Fortunately for Ray, 5 2/3 gives up 4 runs, and that doesn't really tell the story in my mind for how good his stuff was tonight.
I agree 100%. And like I said, they just finally had gotten to him, and so the line score looks worse than the actual game that he pitched. But when you talk about those 8 strikeouts, 5 2/3. I mean, that was impressive. I was very surprised and very impressed with what I saw from Parker Ray. Now for Nola, an opportunity to be comfortable a little bit. You know, you don't want to get too relaxed, but at the same time, what it does for him is now the plate becomes almost a little bit bigger. You don't have to shoot corners. We know he has great control. He can afford to be aggressive a little bit more in the middle of the plate. And he's done that well. He's been unbelievably efficient tonight. He threw 10 pitches in the last inning. We haven't seen anything more than 12 from him. So he's cruising along at this pace. You expect to almost see him throw the entire game. But what becomes important is that you don't let down after having that long layoff. And it looks like maybe just a little bit rusty for him as he goes to a full count.
Only 2 base runners on 2 singles for A&M. The Aggies have yet to get a runner to second base tonight.
And no walks up to this point for Aaron Nola. And really, just you talked about the 2 base runners, and one was erased with the double play. So he's only faced 1 over the minimum through 5.
5 Ks. First walk of the night delivered by Aaron Nola.
Chalk that one up to rust for me, probably that long wait. His arm still looks good, fastball is good, but it is a long time. You see this ball just run off the plate again. We talked about the 3/4 arm angle. What does that create on your fastball movement? That ball probably started on the corner but ends up finishing off because of that natural movement. That was the first, that batter was the first 3-ball count we've seen all night, and obviously goes to a 4-ball with the walk.
First leadoff man to get a board of the night for A&M. Show bunt, take it, gets away, but the runner holds it first. Is Moore able to track that one down? Interesting that Craig Bratson, the number 9 hitter, showing bunt down 4-0 here.
Yeah, I don't love that unless he was just showing it, you know, after the walk and maybe trying to rattle Noah a little bit. When you're down by 4 in the 6th inning, you don't want to be giving outs away. And the sac bunt, that's exactly what you're doing. Yeah, maybe you're moving one guy into scoring position, but you're giving up an out. You don't have that many left.
A called strike here for Bratson. 0 for 1 tonight for Bratson. Number 9 hitter, good speed, good defense in center field for A&M. Popped up shallow right center. Second baseman Robertson with the first out. Back to the top for A&M against Aaron Nola. There's the starting pitcher comparison. 5 1/3, only 2 hits and a walk with 5 Ks for Nola.
Yeah, I mean, listen, both of these guys threw the ball extremely well. You look at the lack of walks, only 3 in the game up to this point. Guys were throwing strikes. Again, just the pitch count really got to Parker Ray. I think we saw some fatigue in that last inning, and then really kind of a lucky little blue hit to kind of knock him out. I mean, he executes there, and it's 2-0, and we're having a different conversation right now. But both guys have thrown extremely well. I think Aaron Nola has kind of been as advertised from what I had heard, and now what we've seen in person. It looks good. He's got a good arm.
What a luxury to throw him out there every Friday night to just set the tone on a series.
Absolutely.
Strike to Alamont. Aaron's brother Austin was a shortstop at LSU, and they've joked, Aaron has it, that he was a better shortstop. Not sure we can confirm that.
Yeah. Nothing like a little sibling rivalry, talking a little trash.
Both guys from Catholic High and Baton Rouge. I mean, you don't want to go overboard, but Nola really is, when you talk about the real deal and one of those prototypical guys for the next level. I mean, there's not many things, I would think, as a scout, that you say, well, we're going to have to. I mean, couldn't he be a guy that's in the bigs within just a couple of years here?
When you have guys that come out of big programs, first of all, obviously coming out of college is almost a must if you're going to move through a system quickly. Very rarely do we see the Kerry Wood types that are in the big leagues, pitchers in the big leagues at 20 years old. You don't see that as much anymore. Jose Fernandez is a guy, but it doesn't happen too often. It's going to be college guys coming out of big programs that have already pitched in big games. Like I said, if this guy goes to A-ball next year, or at the end of the summer, it's going to be a step down as far as atmosphere goes. So, yes, what I've seen so far, absolutely. The command plays, the slider plays, the fastball all play. I like the body type. You can see him potentially maybe even filling out a little bit. There's still some growth in that body for me, so maybe a little bit more weight turns into a little bit more velocity. Not that he needs much more, but then at the same time, you think about guys like Chris Sale, left-hander from the Chicago White Sox, who is about as thick as my pinky, but these guys in the Cy Young conversation every year. He's got an injury right now, but so you see potential for some weight gain and maybe some growth in that regard.
Statham on the move, and a foul ball off the bat of Alamont.
One of the things also that John Manuel had told me from Baseball America was back in March, Aaron Nola had gone up against Tyler Beatty, who's at Vanderbilt, who's a big name there, and he outpitched him. And he said basically from that point on, scouts had now ranked him above a guy that they thought was going to go higher in the draft. And that's what's so interesting. You can be the guy on January 1st. It doesn't matter. June 1st has to come around. A lot can happen between them, in those 6-7 months. I was going into my winter, I was told me a 10th round draft. You just never know.
Lace to right, but Laird got a good jump and hauls it in. And back to first goes Statham.
That was a good-looking swing right there by Alamon. And unfortunately, he hits the ball hard off. The guy's been a tough at-bat for him after the 2 strikeouts. And what you have to show for is an 0-for-3 so far.
Yeah, that little head shake by him. I mean, what do we have to do?
Baseball. Hang with him.
Well, the thing is with Laird, and probably many right fielders could have made that play, but Laird is a guy who could play center field, really, for most programs. But when Stevenson's out there, Laird ends up in right field.
It's such a luxury to have. We talk about, again, having athletes, having guys with tools. I've had played 1 year in the minor leagues. I had 3 center fielders in the outfield. Nate McLeod was one, and he actually had to play left for us because we had a guy named Rich Thompson who was faster than him.
Oh,
and then Donnie Sadler's cousin, Ray Sadler, played right. I mean, it was a luxury. Anything hit in the air, it was either, if it wasn't over the wall, it was an out. And as a pitcher, you love it.
AAA for the Pirates that year, right? 06?
That's right. That was 2006. It was such a luxury to have those guys.
Indianapolis?
Yeah, beautiful ballpark. I joke about being in the minor leagues. Indianapolis Victory Field is gorgeous. Actually, my first taste of AAA was at the old park in Indianapolis, where they shot 8 men out. The old field there that's now turned into some kind of crash derby thing that they use now. Actually, I think they're turning into apartments, but the new stadium there is beautiful in Indianapolis. I call it easy time in AAA. There's some places that you have to do some tough stretches, but Indianapolis is beautiful.
You mentioned Butte earlier. Did you mention that because that was a stop along your way, or just something that came along?
I was very lucky. You talked about moving guys along. For me, being a high draft pick coming out of college, I went right to AA. So I started my career at Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this is exactly what you could see. Depending on what organization drafts you, some are more aggressive than others. Some will want you to start in rookie ball or able just to have the experience and slowly move you along. They'll recognize some guys and say, this guy's college, he's close, he's ready, we like everything we see, and they're going to throw you right into AA. And you move along quickly that way. And you find out very quickly who you are, which as long as the guy, you got to be careful. You got to make sure the guy's mentally ready for it. You're going to start him at a level higher than most. There's a mental component as much as the physical.
Driving back in time is Statham. He got the leadoff single, but now he's there with 2 outs.
The thing that they're doing better now is keeping an eye on pitch counts. You get guys coming out of big-time college programs, and you're more worried about the wear and tear. You see this year all the talk about the Tommy John surgeries, which just almost seems to be an epidemic. So I think in that regard, organizations become a little bit more careful.
There's the pitch out. They are unafraid. They will throw multiple pitch outs with this guy Nola on the mound. And to that point, 115 is the number for Nola. They don't let him go past that mark.
And that's another luxury because not a lot of coaches are doing that. They're getting better, but that has not always been the case in college. I was just talking today with a couple of guys about Carlos Rondon, who's talked about a guy from NC State who may be the #1 overall pick. That's the consensus, but that's changed. People have gone up and down. He's gotten 3 starts in a row now where he's thrown 127 or average 127. I'm okay with that. That number's still fine for me. My sophomore year, I threw 151 pitches in a game in the regionals. Came back and threw relief 2 days later. You know, I never had Tommy John, but I think everybody's did.
Runner goes down to second, throw into center field. And Statham trying to take third, dives in safely. Stolen base and an error on the catcher, Tyler Moore. Now A&M's first run is 90 feet away.
I think Moore would have had him. The throw was just a little bit low in the dirt, but it looked like the ball might have beat him there. You see here, yeah, absolutely. That's a tough pick for the second baseman, Robertson. But other than that, the throw would have beat him. So Nola does a good job, as Coach told us. Holds runners well. Time there was good. They had a chance to get the runner out. The throw was just in the dirt.
The count 3-2 with 2 outs. McClendon at the plate. And a runner at third base. Fly ball into right. Laird. A&M strands a man at third base in the 6th. Nola still not at 80 pitches yet. Leads 4-0. In the 7th, and Bregman has been key tonight offensively for LSU in their 4-0 advantage.
And he's made a couple nice defensive plays as well. He had the nice short ball that he fielded on the run. He turned a double play. But most importantly, he's swinging the bat really well, as Coach had told us, in getting back on track. And that'll be a big part of it. We had said that the LSU offense has been somewhat average for this conference. And for a team that's ranked 5th in the country, they can get a little bit more boost. And a guy like Bregman, get him to where he was a year ago, that's a difference maker.
Christian Ibarra leads off the 7th, 1-1. Matt Kent, second pitcher of the night for A&M. Got that 3rd out to close out the 6th. After Parker Ray just ran into trouble in that frame.
Looks like Kent's got a little bit of the sideways hat. It's very lefty of him.
It's unbelievable.
Now, it's not Fernando Rodney. I mean, it's only a little bit. Fernando, I was thinking last night I was watching him close out of games. Put it on backwards. I mean, you're almost there. Just go Ken Griffey Jr.
Crowder to second base. Burke. And the 1st out of the 7th. We have a tremendous college lacrosse showdown heading your way. Check out the #1 team in the nation in Patriot League champ Loyola Greyhounds. They host one of the most storied lacrosse programs in the country, the 6th-ranked Johns Hopkins Blue Jays. 2 potential NCAA champions square off tomorrow at noon, only on CBS Sports Network. Had a chance to call Loyola at Navy earlier this year. The Blue Jays, as advertised, just a rip to 3rd off the glove of Gideon. And aboard with 1 out is Kramer Robertson. And we'll wait to get the official ruling on that one.
You know how I feel about it as a pitcher. I expect that play to be made, but that ball was smoked. I think it's got to be an error. We'll see.
It's a hit.
Oh my.
Sure enough.
You don't have to earn it anymore.
This is our first game together this year. I had forgotten your subjectivity when it comes to pitchers and any call that has to do with them. I had forgotten that about
I put 1B with an asterisk in my scorebook for that one. Especially with a left-handed pitcher on the mound. Are you kidding me?
And here's the deal. I mentioned early on in the game, and I think a lot of people know it, that you played Dutch Leonard, a Phillies pitcher, in the Jackie Robinson movie. You were a villain, by the way, Matt.
I was on the wrong side of history in that movie.
Yeah, you threw at his head in the movie 42, but the point I was going to make is that I cannot remember the point I was going to make.
That I looked every bit a 39-year-old pitcher in that movie.
Here's the deal. The Dutch Leonard was a right-hander.
That's right.
And you were a lefty. I hate to poke holes because that was a phenomenal movie.
They did a great job with it. I was very fortunate to be a part of it. I don't think they realized. Here was the mistake. There was 2 Dutch Leonards that pitched in the history of Major League Baseball. There was a left-handed Dutch Leonard who pitched in the early 1900s. Now, this movie took place in 1947 when the other Dutch Leonard, who was a right-handed knuckleballer, was the guy. And so I think there was an oversight in that regard. And, listen, we always talk about it. You see movie mistakes. And for me, having been in it and going, there's a handful in there that you may not realize by watching it. So it was it's a small part, not a big part of the history, but definitely one of those little maybe trivia questions you could throw out there.
Running catch in center by Craig Bratson. Off the bat of Stevenson, and a nice hand here at Bluebell Park for Craig Bratson. The second out here in the 7th is Robertson retreating to first. Mark Laird 0 for 3. Strikeout and a couple of flyouts tonight for the LSU right fielder. Back. Maneri told us when this guy puts a little meat on his bones, he's going to be a really special player. Mentioned earlier he came thinking that he was going to walk onto the LSU football team as a wide out or a D-back. It takes a little bit of time usually when you come to college. Still a young kid here to kind of put that meat on, huh?
For me, about my junior year, people always ask, my velocity really jumped when I was in college. Nice move.
Runner goes, picked off. Shortstop covering second base, and out is Robertson, put out by Blake Elliman for the third out. Stretch time in College Station.
As we see Stevens go first move.
Not a problem. 4-0. Bottom half of the 7th. Beautiful night here in College Station. It's good to be in Texas.
Yeah, I love Texas, man. I lived here for 9 years in Houston, Texas, and this is the time of year, but it's nice to be here. A couple of months, it is not the nice time of year to be here.
College baseball on CBS Sports Network, presented by Roundup Max Control 365. SEC style tonight. You know I like the country music, VP, and all throughout the night, and the inning breaks, and seriously, it's
getting back to your Chicago roots of country music.
I have to go all the way back to my Kansas roots for that, I think. 4-0. Bottom half of the 7th, and the first of 3 this weekend between these two. You and I will make the trek north to TD Ameritrade Park, home of the College World Series, for a Creighton-Seton Hall matchup on Sunday at noon local time, 1 Eastern, here on CBS Sports Network.
Of course, we talk about power conferences. We got to bring the Big East into the mix. My former conference.
Absolutely. St. John's having a pretty good year. Seton Hall receiving votes in the latest poll. Creighton always solid baseball tradition.
Well, I tell you, for you and I, for these 2 games, we're not going to see a bad ballpark. That's for sure. That Creighton ballpark is beautiful. I got to see it last year in Omaha. I'm doing a pregame show right before the World Series. It is gorgeous. These kids are unbelievably spoiled.
Cole Langford up there with a count of 2-1. Leadoff man here in the home 7th, with his team down 4-0 against one of the top pitchers in the country. Aaron Nola leads the SEC in opponents' batting average, strikeouts, and ERA. We thought the closer Broussard, when we talked to Maneri earlier this week, Broussard might come in to pitch 2 innings. So this could be the final inning of the night for Aaron Nola. 78 pitches, now 79th pitch right there, and a strikeout. So still not at 80 for Aaron Nola, and he gets his 6th punch out.
Well, I think ultimately for LSU, if they can get Aaron Nola to throw the entire game, and he's certainly on pace to do that right now, if he keeps his pitch count down, you do that. And because, listen, the way conference play works, you come in for a weekend. If he can save his closer for the rest of the weekend, he's going to try to do that. So that'll be ultimately the goal, but never at the expense for Aaron Nola. And they don't save arms, and that's a smart move to do. Just because you have a 4-0 lead, you feel like maybe one of your top relievers or not one of your top relievers in close of the game, you don't do that. You go ahead and you throw your closer out there and you finish it. You don't let wins get away from you.
Broussard has locked things down at the back end with the 8 saves this year. Nice 1-2 punch with Nola and Broussard. 115 is the max. And he just threw his 80th. In terms of max pitches for Nola, on the ground is short. Bregman. And the 2nd out.
It's going to be close at this pace right here. You figure he finishes this inning, maybe if he's fortunate, 85 or even under 90, 25 to 30 pitches to try to finish out the game. With the way he's been throwing, it's certainly possible. And we talked about it in the open early on in this game. He has learned to pitch efficiently, learned to put guys away earlier. Don't be afraid of contact. Yes, he's striking guys out at a great rate this year in the SEC, but at the same time, a 2-pitch, 3-pitch at bat where you're getting a ground ball is also your friend.
We talked too about, late in games being down. In a game like this, taking that first pitch, but you really can't afford to do that because Nola doesn't throw many first pitch balls.
It's such a catch-22 when you talk about guys, and how do you approach good pitchers that know how to strike guys out? Well, if you have great control and you're swinging early, a lot of times you're still going to be swinging at a pitcher's pitch, and he wants you to do that. So I think different guys take different approaches. There's not any one way to do it. That conversation has come up with the New York Yankees in facing Masahiro Tanaka, a guy with great control, but is doing an outstanding job striking guys out. Do you try to jump on that first fastball that he's putting right away on the corner, or do you wait till you get 2 strikes and you get that nasty split and you're going back to the dugout? So it's a difficult choice for guys. For me, I prefer they stay aggressive. But what happens, the downside of that is all of a sudden you get into the 7th or 8th inning and your guy only has 85 pitches. No easy way to beat good pitching.
No.
That's why they're good pitchers. They're hard to beat.
He's faced 23 batters as Nola tonight, 15 first pitch strikes. Sure enough, he's down in the count. One of the rare times tonight, 3-1 here on Ryan Burke. The base is clear, 2 outs.
Coming at you. There you go.
Two hopper to first. Good play on a tough hop. Connor Hale to the bag. 1, 2, 3. Down goes A&M. 7 completes. NOLA and LSU cruising in game 1 of this weekend set in College Station. Welcome back to college baseball on CBS Sports Network, presented by Roundup Max Control 365. LSU 4 runs on 7 hits, 1 error. A&M no runs, 2 hits, 2 errors. As the 8th inning rolls in, Matt Kent, the lefty, continues to work out of the A&M bullpen.
You have to wonder, yes, it's 4-0, but for Texas A&M, they still believe that they're in this game. So possibly Matt Kent only faces 1 hitter here with Alex Bregman on deck. Might want to get a right-handed pitcher in there with the way that he's swinging the bat right now. And Kent not necessarily a great matchup for Bregman.
Laird takes a strike on the edge. Mark Laird is 0 for 4 tonight.
Plug and tape.
0 for 3, I should say, was up to bat.
So you're doing a little
Turning
Nostradamus on us.
Caught stealing.
You know for sure. You
I'd never do that.
Confident that he's going to make it out here. Look at you.
Well, 2 hopper to short. The Laird family won't be sending me a Christmas card. Roll age rapid relief performance tonight, Alex Bregman.
We saw the home run in the first inning and really kind of set the table and set the tone for this game. And again, a line drive we see in his 3rd at bat, big double. That situation that really helped ignite that big 6th inning. Well, LSU put 3 more runs on the board.
Bregman, a couple of RBIs, and he's got 31 on the season now.
Let's see how we do with our predictions. You predicted that Mark Laird was going to make it out. I predicted that this was not a good matchup. Oh,
You had to highlight it. Wow.
It's unbelievable how good we are.
So everybody loves. It just makes me more of a villain. Bregman, that's why he's our player of the game right there. Slap hit to right, going with the pitch.
Anybody can tell you what happened after it happens, but only in this booth will we tell you what happens before it happens.
Oh, man. So here's McMullen, cleanup man.
I got nothing here. You know what's happening here? I don't know.
I'm out of that game. It's a bad one for me. I got enough trouble trying to pick who I'm going with in the Derby tomorrow.
No.
First Saturday in May. So over to first.
Might be a good time for you to pick a horse you're hot right now.
Right. Tell you, at the Derby, 20 horses, you better get out of the gate. How about that? I'll give you a little analysis instead. You better get out of the gate quick. McMullen, hot shot, base hit, center field. 2 men on with 1 out here in the 8th, and LSU threatening again.
You know what's really interesting, too? One of the things that Coach had told us before the game about McMullen, Coach Mary told us backward splits for him, that he's actually better against left-handed pitchers than he is against right-handed hitters. And for me, that tells me that's the guy who hits the off-speed pitches well, and that's exactly what we saw. There was a breaking pitch in the middle, down the middle of the plate, and he hit it right back up the middle of the box.
Chris Chinea off the LSU bench to pinch hit for Fraley, so sent a right-hander up there. And Fraley had a tough night, so Maneri gives him the rest of the night off after 3 strikeouts.
Spare him the potential of the golden sombrero, that 4th strikeout, and really playing the better matchup here as well.
You just had to add insult to injury, huh? By bringing up the golden sombrero.
Well, it happened. We all have bad nights.
Absolutely.
Listen,
He's had a phenomenal year, Fraley. 348 to begin the night. He will not have another night like this.
Listen, everybody has them. The greatest players have them all the time, and some of us really bad players have them a little bit more often than others. But you know, this game is about failure. We joke about it, but it is about failure, and it's, for me, one of the greatest lessons. We always say, hey, you can make it out 7 out of 10 times, and you're still a really good player, and that is what baseball teaches you. There's so much adversity. There's so many nights where you're not going to have it, but yet you can still be a very productive player. Such a long season. For these guys, they play a ton of games. At the big league level, it's 162 games. You're going to fail. Your ability to bounce back from that failure a lot of times will tell us a lot about your character and what kind of player you are. You have to be able to do it, or you cannot survive in this game.
Chinea on the ground to third. Gideon steps on third. Peg across in time. A 5-3 double play started by Gideon. A&M got to get the bats going late.
College baseball on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by Bud Light, who reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly. And by Rolaids Rapid Relief.
Well, this is how the top half of the 8th ended. Chris Chinea into a 5-3 double play. Gideon across. Gideon in off the A&M bench, 2nd inning after Logan Taylor, the starting A&M shortstop, went down on a strike 3, went around with a swing, and they just fell awkwardly. Looked like a right knee injury. They helped him off the field. And Gideon came off the bench to play third. Aleman moved into short where Taylor had begun the game. And this was the 2nd inning, this strikeout on Taylor.
Yeah, like I said, I'd never seen this before, and really important here. Obviously, we're hoping it's nothing serious. But for Texas A&M, this is a big bat for them. As they sit there and they try to make this run and continue to have that RPI, get it up, they're going to need that bat in the lineup. So hopefully for them, it's something short-term and not long-term. I don't like this play at all.
Bunt here by Stein to lead off the 8th, and they got him by a step. Good play off the mound.
When you have, we talk about having athletic pitchers. Aaron Nola showed us that he's athletic. I saw him earlier get over to first on a ball, gets off the mound extremely fast. These guys are tough to bunt against. When you have a good athlete, it's different when you have some of your standard pitchers who are not particularly strong athletes. Aaron Nola's a strong athlete. You don't want to give up outs here in the 8th inning. You want to swing the bat. I know he's having a good night, and you're trying to get something started. But when you're down by 4, for me, I want you swinging the bats.
Ronnie Gideon takes strike 1. New left fielder for LSU is Jared Foster. His last half inning, Chinea was a pinch hitter for Jake Fraley. Chinea just that one at bat, and Foster comes off the bench to play left.
One other thing about Nola, one of the things that you do as you look at amateur pitchers and say, can they be professionals? We talked about is the stuff there, and the athleticism, the pitchability. You also do comps. And for Coach Maneri, he had told us Aaron Heilman was the guy that he reminded him of. Scout I talked to earlier had told me that it reminds of Mike Leake, the pitcher for the Cincinnati Reds and Chicago Cubs. That's a guy. And for me, after watching him, I just sent a message to one of my guys and said, he kind of reminds me of David Phelps, who pitches for the New York Yankees. Similar mechanics, similar style, similar velocity. And he agreed. He said, yeah, it's a good one. I've seen him before, and I think, might be right. You try to find guys that have gone to the big leagues and have been successful, and then compare that guy to them. And it's not that he's going to be that guy, but you say maybe this is the path that he could take. That's the route he can be successful with that stuff, that body type, all that at the major league level. And then he said to me, hey, he goes, I put your name in as a comp for somebody the other day. And I said, what'd you write next? Nice. Do not draft or potential broadcaster? I mean, well, you can do better than that. I feel bad for whatever kid got that tattoo.
Gideon down on strikes. out number 2. Seventh K for Nola. I don't know about that. I mean, I think a lot of kids would take 19 years.
Yeah, I joke.
19 years and pitched in Korea, Japan. You saw a lot of the world. You played for 8 different franchises. And you know, I guess you're kind of a testament to what a lot of these guys across college baseball will face. You know, guys who are top 10, you know, first round, second round picks. Doesn't mean clearly that you're going to be a superstar, but there's a lot to be said to put in time and just be a solid guy that puts in the 8, 10, 12 years as maybe a role player or a relief pitcher, even if you bounce around. It turns out to be a pretty good life.
Absolutely. And you have to, you know, again, be able to get over adversity. You know, it's going to be very difficult. This game, especially at the professional level, can be very cruel. The leash can be very short at times, and things may not go your way. But you also have to be able to adjust. You'll see a lot of guys that who they are in college, as far as repertoire, sometimes velocity, what off-speed pitches they throw, is not who they are a few years down the road. You're constantly adjusting and tweaking, and that's part of it as well. If you want to have a long career, you need to be able to adjust. You're not going to do the same thing you did as an amateur throughout your entire career. That's another component, and the willingness to do that. You get some guys that come out of college that are so headstrong. This is how I did in college. This is how I'm going to try to do it in the pros. It doesn't always work that way. It's just there's adjustments that have to be made along the way as well. And even the greatest players will tell you that. Derek Jeter will tell you that. He's had to make adjustments over the course of his career, little ones here and there, to maintain that greatness level that he has done for so long.
Statham fouls it off. The count remains at 1-2. A&M down 4-0 against NOLA. "97 pitches for Aaron Nola. And here comes the 98th, and again fouled off.
I'm liking our chances out of CG. He's got basically 16 more pitches, and I know that he says 115. I don't think it's a hard 115. I think we're staying in that range. He might take him out at 110. Maybe he lets him go to 120. A lot of times that depends on how you got there, how strenuous has it been, and these innings or pitches per innings have been relatively low.
Pop fly, shallow center, late jump, out goes the second baseman, falls in and into second base, diving head first. With a 2-out double is Statham.
Well, good hustle, good awareness right there by Statham. As you see, the shortstop, the second baseman, and the center fielder all converging on this ball, and nobody covering second base. And Nola tried to get there, but he was going to be too late. He didn't hit it hard, but it's a double in the scorebook. Good hustle by Statham.
Come on, let's go, huh? Play ball!
So a chance for Craig Bratson to drive one in. Bratson to deep short. Bregman going to cut him down at third base. Good play.
Very good heads-up play right there. Nice job by Bregman. He's having a great night.
6-5 to chase down Statham. LSU 31-0 when leading after 8. They head to the 9th, 4-0. The 5th-ranked Tigers led by Aaron Nola. 4-0 in the 9th. Rob Childress, head coach at Texas A&M, electing to do, I think, what many teams have done this year. Opposite Aaron Nola on these Friday nights, they have not thrown their ace. It's an interesting idea. Certainly not. You're not in any way giving away the game, but
sure,
to save your ace for Saturday or Sunday. Now, for Childress, they don't really have one. I mean, Daniel Mengden, they wanted him to be. He's going to pitch Saturday. Grayson Long has turned out with the best numbers of the starters, and he will pitch Sunday in this series.
Well, what you can do is you can use that as an opportunity and challenge guys on your team. If you don't have that real strong Friday ace that you can match up against another teams, and I do like that. Take your best guy, maybe move him to Saturday or Sunday, and you take somebody else on your staff, and you say, here's an opportunity. I'm going to give you Friday night, and if you can earn it, it's yours to keep. And that's a good way to challenge guys if you don't have a particularly deep staff or if guys are not meeting expectations, which is what has happened to A&M this year.
Popped it up to second base. And Burke for the first out. A&M will, barring a rally in the bottom of the ninth, will have to play one game down when they come out tomorrow. Try to win this series, and we mentioned it early on. LSU going after their 22nd SEC series victory. Their 22nd in the last 28. They have been in the top 10, LSU has, for the last 46 weeks. In the top 10 of one of the polls, at the very least.
It's phenomenal. That's a phenomenal number, and you think all the things that have to go. We're not talking top 25. We're talking top 10. I mean, there's always sometimes, you know, these programs will go through a lull. You have a recruiting class that doesn't come through for you, and it sets you back a year or two. That hasn't happened for LSU. They've been able to do it consistently, and makes it all that more impressive.
Paul Maneri had them in the College World Series last year. They won the national title in 2009. They're 6th in school history. They've been to the College World Series 16 times. As Moore takes it low and away. The count levels at 2-2. They're going after their 5th straight SEC series victory. Called strike 3 on Moore. That has been solid out of the A&M bullpen.
Absolutely, and as we talked about for a guy like Parker Ray having an opportunity, how about for Matt Kent coming in here on a Friday night with your team down against a good team like LSU, a chance to make an impression as Texas A&M tries to figure out what they have left for pitching and who can they count on in big situations. And so far for Matt Kent, this has been a very nice outing.
Talked about what LSU has done of late. A&M, an offense that took a while to get going this year, but over the last 6 weeks, and obviously it's been a struggle tonight offensively, but the last 6 weeks had really found their groove. You're talking about a team that has had 43 different lineups. I mean, they've mixed and matched and done some different things, but all in all, came in playing pretty good baseball, having won 5 of 6 before tonight. And last year went 3-1 on the road with a series victory against Mississippi State and a win against a really good Rice team, a top 20 team. Zavala on the ground, deep short, backhanded, on to first. Good play by Almont. A&M, 3 bullets remaining. Trying to come from 4 runs down. Game summary as we head to the bottom of the ninth. Bregman has had a very nice night offensively, and Aaron Nola, 8 innings, no runs, 100 pitches. He's back out there for the bottom of the ninth.
Well, I'm really happy to see him back out there to see more of this guy because he's been an absolute treat to watch. To see him go for this complete game shutout on a Friday night after, as you talked about, coming off his worst, quote-unquote, worst outing of the year, which for most mortals was still a pretty good outing. It's going to happen. So good to see him bounce back, and good opportunity for us to watch him try to close out a game.
How about the atmosphere here at Bluebell Park?
Yeah, a ton of fun here. I mean, this is, you know, for me, I've never experienced playing in the college atmosphere, especially regular season like this. This is a treat for these guys. But, you know, we came in here, this is what they're to do on a Friday night, at least at this early. Boy, school is still going on. Great atmosphere.
You got it. Finals coming up very soon for A&M students as Alamon, leadoff man here in the ninth, down 4-0. LSU will start their finals on Monday.
Ugh, I don't miss those days. I don't know about you. Forget everything you studied within 2 hours of taking the test, if not sooner. And there's an opportunity here for LSU. They have already set a team record with 13 shutouts this year. If Alex, excuse me, if Aaron Nola can finish this off, or even the LSU pitching staff as a whole, this would be their 14th shutout. The previous record was 10. And that was going back all the way to 1996 when they won a national championship. Just going to show you how good this pitching staff has been. And I know we bring the bats into it a little bit, but to throw 9 shutout, I don't care. Guys are up there swinging wiffle ball bats. You still got to make pitches. Pretty tough to do.
2-2 on Alamon, leadoff man in the ninth. Count was off a little bit there, so it was 3-2 and a full count walk to lead off the ninth, and that's a good start. 28th walk of the season for the leadoff man, Blake Alleman.
And just a second for Nola, which again, through 8+ innings, that's a good number. As we see him now, and we see Broussard warming up in the bullpen, so maybe we will get a chance to see him. At 106 pitches, you have to figure probably 2 batters, 3 at the most. But for Nola, he did get one 6-4-3 double play early in this game. Maybe he can get another one.
Tell you who doesn't want to see Broussard is Texas A&M. His ERA is .36, and he's got 8 saves.
Is that a good number?
I mean, I don't care if you're using a rolled-up newspaper at the plate. .36 is hard to do.
That's video game numbers. And he's really been, 25 games, 25 in the 3rd innings pitched. So it seems like it's pretty much been in an inning or shorter for Broussard so far up to this point in his career. He had Tommy John surgery in 2013. An interesting guy, and it sounds like almost to some degree was a blessing in disguise for him. His first couple years he was inconsistent, probably would not have pitched much last year, so he gets the red shirt as a junior, now technically a junior with still something left, and he's come out and he's been throwing the ball extremely well, so it seems to work out.
McClendon into shallow center, and it drops in and gets past the center fielder, Stevenson. Into third base, Alleman. And they're at the corners with nobody out here in the bottom of the ninth.
Well, that's unfortunate for Nola. He made a good pitch, a ball just not hit particularly hard off the end of the bat. We saw the same thing in the inning before on the Jay Statham double. So guys making contact, putting the ball in play. He hasn't been generating as many swings and misses over these last couple innings, which tells me there is a little bit of fatigue there. Not quite the same life on his pitches that we saw earlier in the game. Molinari's going to leave him in there, it looks like, for now. So first and third, nobody out. You're playing for the double play. Yes, you want to have that 14 shutout in the season. That's fun. But that runner on third means nothing. And even the runner on first really means nothing. You need to stay focused on your hitter right here. Get him out any way you can. Ideally, a double play would be great. They would absolutely give up the run for 2 outs here in the 9th inning as they try to finish off this game. And so for Aaron Nola, can't be focused on that runner at third. Let him go. Don't try to overpitch. Don't try to get those swings and misses so early to avoid that run score. That's not the goal.
Cole Langford takes strike 1 on the inner half. The pinch runner is J.B. Moss. Down at first base, good speed, 6 of 7 on stolen bases for Moss.
Knock it out of here, Cole.
Langford 0 for 3. He's the guy in the heart of the order for A&M. Takes it away, 1-1. First and third, nobody out. Bottom of the 9th, A&M down 4 runs. Langford waves at it and misses.
And still a good-looking fastball. You see the movement. We don't see the tilt that we saw earlier. You see that ball as it fades away, stays on the same plane. You prefer that ball has a little bit of tilt going down. For me, again, a sign of fatigue. I don't think he's overly tired, but you can tell that he's in well over that 100-pitch mark. You see a little bit of difference in the pitches.
Misses away. Count evens 2-2. The 2 guys that we talked about in the open of our show. Aaron Nola on the mound for LSU, about to make his 114th pitch. And Cole Langford at the plate. The key spot here late in this game. 2-2, and he popped him up. Shallow right center. Robertson out. Center fielder Stevenson. The catch tagging from third and scoring standing up is Blake Alleman, and it's 4-1.
And as you watch Stevenson, we see him catch his ball. His fly ball is not deep. And at first thought they're not going to tag the other run. It's not that important. They don't want to even take the chance of giving that out away. But what happened was as the ball was coming down, Stevenson moved back a little bit, and he actually caught that ball falling back just a little bit. He wasn't placed, but it doesn't seem like it's windy here, but he seemed to be a little bit thrown off. You want to be behind that ball and coming in as you catch it. But as you see here, he's catching it and falling backwards. Now, he's not on his back leg. He's not going to be able to make a good throw. You have to set yourself up. You need to be behind that ball as it comes down, be walking through it, and you come up and you hit that cutoff man with a good line drive. Maybe you have a chance, but they had no chance based on the way he called.
Banks down 0-1. 0 for 3 for Banks tonight. With runner at first, 1 out, and a run home for A&M here in the ninth. Down 4-1. Sounds of the game early, and Bregman asking Robertson how many double plays are we going to get tonight. They'd love to get one right here to end this game.
It would be a nice number 2 if they could. And I got to think that we're getting very close here to the end of Aaron Nola's night, just based on pitch count and starting to miss spots a little bit. You don't look at velocity when you're wondering about whether or not a guy is tired. You watch his location, you watch the life on the pitches, you watch the swings that the opposing hitters are taking.
The 0-2 misses outside.
You hear that sometimes and say, oh, he's still throwing 94. That doesn't mean anything to me. You can still throw 94 as your body gets tired. It's how's the execution, how's the movement, how are opposing hitters seeing that ball.
He said his limit is 115 pitches. He's about to deliver his 118th. And it's a 1-2 against Nick Banks. Back to the backstop and up to second base is J.B. Moss. And that'll be a pass ball on Tyler Moore.
And I think Moore would be the first one to tell you he just got lazy right there. As his pitch was on the right side of the plate that he set up in. Ball was in the air. He just kind of lunged at it, did not catch it cleanly, obviously. And it takes now the double play out of play, which is unfortunate for Aaron Nola. But I got to think now, with this runner in scoring position, this has to be his last play.
Moss with a lead at second base. 2-2 on Banks. A&M trying to rally in the bottom of the ninth. And it's 3-2. Broussard in the pen with his 8 saves and .36 ERA.
We'd love to see Nola tire the hitter right here and then come in maybe just for that 1-out save, one of the cheapest stats in baseball, and get one guy out and get a save. Potentially, that's what we could see.
Here's the payoff. Nola to Banks. Ball 4. Barely missed on 2-2. Missed well low and in on 3-2. And Maneri quickly out of the LSU dugout.
Well, you understand why Paul Maneri tried to get him through this inning. I would have done the same thing, and now he's probably going to tell you that he waited maybe a bat or too long, and the tying run is going to come to the plate here in the ninth inning. Not ideal for what you want to do with your ace, especially as he's near his pitch limit. He throws the 119, 120 pitches.
Maneri with some words for plate umpire Damian Beal on his way out. Nola's night done. 120 pitches, 43 balls, 77 strikes. And one of the top closers in the nation about to come in to try to put this one away. Nola 8 1/3, 4 hits, a run. It was not earned. 3 walks, 7 Ks. And here comes the right-hander, Broussard. And Nola with a nice hand from the LSU faithful, as well as A&M fans. A&M with 1 run in the ninth, trying to pull this one out of the fire. Another great SEC battle heading your way tomorrow. Tune in at 4 Eastern as the Gators hit the road to visit Alabama. A battle of top 20 teams only on CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Joe Broussard. 26th appearance, 2-0, 8 saves, .36 ERA.
I'm excited to see him throw based on those numbers. Strikeout an inning straight over the top is where this guy comes from. We talked about good downward angle. Joe Broussard has that, and we talked about this a little bit earlier. That injury maybe being a little bit of a blessing in disguise. Paul Mary had told us that. It allowed him to take last year off, a time where he probably would not have pitched that much. Coming off a couple of seasons where he'd been inconsistent. Now he comes back. There's more opportunity on this LSU staff for him. He's fully healthy, and he's been very sharp.
He'll face Ryan Burke, A&M, with a run home in the ninth. First and second, one out. Shows bunt, takes strike one. Really was taking all the way there. 1 for 3 with a single back in the second for Burke. Broussard with the 0-1. Junior from Gretna, Louisiana. A&M with some life here in the bottom of the ninth.
Well, listen, if you told them that you're going to face Aaron Nola and going into the ninth inning, the winning run or tying run was going to come up to the plate, I think they'd take that, knowing what they were going up against in the tough pitcher, but also a tough LSU club.
Burke awaits the 1-1. Checked his swing and took a called strike 2.
Talked about how guys move quickly, and we talked about coming through a big program. Closers coming out of big programs with big fastballs have an opportunity to move extremely fast. Through a minor league system, we saw from guys like Drew Storen, Chad Cordero about 10 years ago, guys that spent almost no time in the minor leagues.
Fastball away, count levels 2-2.
There used to be any decent pitcher on a college team was going to be a starter. Nowadays, as specialization has happened over time in the major leagues, it now happens as well at the college level. It's a luxury if you have good arms in your bullpen at the college level. If you have that big fastball and they put you in the pen, and you have a secondary pitch to go with it, you can absolutely move along very quickly.
Tying run at the plate, bottom of the ninth. Good cut by Burke. To that point, when Harry talked about Broussard, being projected as somewhere between a 5th and 8th round pick. But the task at hand is trying to put away this pesky A&M team. We're at the bottom of the ninth with 1 run already in.
And at 93, 94, that's pretty average velocity these days for right-handed relievers, but he's not done, especially coming off of that surgery and only being a little bit more than a year removed. You can continue to gain velocity up until you're about 25 years old. Scouts will give you that amount of time. Not uncommon, so if he's a guy that may go, if he goes that late, 5th to 8th round, and I know it doesn't sound that late, but in the grand scheme of things, it usually is as far as the projectability, but there's still opportunity. He looks like a good-sized kid, mechanics look good. You pick up a couple of more miles an hour, you start to get to that 96 area, and that's where you become somewhat of a difference maker from really short.
3-2 on Burke. And here it comes. Ball 4, they're loaded. Third walk in the inning.
Now again here, you have to remember for LSU, they're up by 3. And so that runner at third and that runner at second, they don't mean anything. Right now, as a pitcher, you have to be thinking about that runner at first base is the tying run. The runner at home plate is the winning run. So even though it's bases loaded and the pressure gets turned up, forget about those 2 guys. They can score. The guy on third is most likely going to score. At third base with the bases loaded and 1 out, that run's probably coming across the plate. Put that out of your mind. Find a way to get this guy at the plate out. Don't let this turn into a potential loss with the winning run.
We saw McClendon at third base. Banks at second, Burke at first, Stein at the plate. Broussard has not given up a home run this year. Home run right here would win the game for the Aggies in game 1 of this series. Stein takes it in the dirt to the backstop. McClendon scores. The runners all move up, and it's 4-2.
out for Broussard. He does not look comfortable. We've seen a couple of pitches in the dirt come in, walk that first hitter. Now he's putting himself in a little bit of a jam. Now we're talking about the tying run being in scoring position with one out. Now the mindset has to change again. Now you do have to prevent that run. You don't want that guy getting to third base. You have an open base here. It's the winning run, though. So for me, I'm not pitching around a batter knowing that he's going to be the winning run, even though it sets up the forces for me. I still go out Troy Stein, and now we're going to see potentially that injury coming into play here, as it would have been Logan Taylor on deck. He's now out of the game, leading this team in doubles. Should should Troy Stein get on base, it would have been nice to have Logan Taylor in there. That's not going to happen. So A&M scratching and clawing pretty much like they've done, piecemealing this thing together. Haven't been very steady with their lineup, with their pitching staff, trying to figure out. You talked about the different lineups that they use, so many of them this year. This is what this team has been. They're used to it.
The tying run is down at second base. Stein takes a strike. It's 1-1. So first and second, I should say. Second and third for A&M. 2 runs home here in the bottom of the ninth. Burke down at second base. Banks at third. Tie the game here with a base hit. Stein with no home runs on the season. Good time for his first.
Now I'll tell you something that I don't like here is pitching from the windup with runners on second and third. What that allows is the runner at second to get a big lead. You want to keep him close. That is a tying run out there. You cannot just allow him to take a huge lead to get a great seconder. He's going to score almost on any base hit if he takes advantage. As soon as he sees that first step go back, he can come off as much as he wants because there's nothing the pitcher can do. And based on how the infielders play right now, both infielders are more into the gaps. Nobody's playing up the middle. There's an opportunity for a huge lead. I'd rather see him pitch out of the stretch and keep the runner close.
Stein tried to check it but went around.
And Banks is actually not taking advantage of that right now. We watch him take the lead. He should be getting way further off, just based alone on where the middle infielders are. And then you throw into the fact that Broussard is throwing from the windup. He should be getting a huge lead off of second base right now, and he's not.
So Jonathan Maroney off the A&M bench with the tying run down at second base. He represents the winning run with 2 outs. 299 for Maroney, a homer and 12 driven in. Pinch hits here for Ronnie Gideon. In tight, ball 1.
You know, another thing to keep in mind for all pitchers, but especially relievers, you are going to make the biggest pitches out of the stretch. When the game is on the line, when guys are on base, those pitchers are going to come from out of the stretch. You need to be comfortable pitching from the stretch all the time. Him going from the windup right now is telling me he's not comfortable pitching from the stretch. He's trying to find a rhythm, and he's using the windup to do that. For a guy who's been so successful this year, it's a big surprise to me.
The count 2-0 on Maroney. 2 runs home in the bottom of the ninth. A base hit to tie it for the Aggies. Into right, drops in. Banks scores. The throw to the plate is offline, sliding in safely. And safe into second base is Maroney, who's tied the game in the bottom of the ninth.
And that is a great job by Jonathan Maroney, but for Texas A&M, they caught a huge break right there. As we were just talking about, Banks did not get a good jump. If this throw was on line, he was going to be out by a few feet. The throw beat him by plenty, and actually, I thought there was still enough time for Tyler Moore to put the tag on him. He just completely ignored the runner coming home. That's a mistake right there on LSU's part, but especially for Tyler Moore, not having the greatest night defensively. Good job by Maroney. It's a fastball, and he keeps the hands in and drives it the other way, but not a good jump off of second base. And as we watch this throw from right field, it is up the line. If it is even close, look how late the runner before he scores. I mean, there is plenty of time to get him there, but that throw is close. So for A&M, they catch a break. Not a good secondary lead, but nevertheless, here we are now in a tie game, and now for Texas A&M with 2 outs, a chance to win this game.
Jay Statham with the winning run at second. They'll put him aboard. Bratson in the on-deck circle. A&M, a team hitting .383. All guys included. Pinch hitting.
It's amazing.
Pinch hitting, and we just saw Maroney tie the game.
One of the most difficult things to do, one of the toughest roles to have on a baseball team, and that's the pinch hit. You sit around, you're cold, you're watching the game. Baseball's about rhythm. It's very difficult to get into a rhythm. To jump into the middle of the game, face a guy that's throwing hard in the low 90s after you've been sitting on the bench. Very, very difficult thing.
So the intentional walk to Statham. They're at first and second.
A lot of times for guys that have success is because they think less as a pinch hitter. You go up there, so many times you learn this after playing year after year. A lot of guys are aggressive early in the count, and they're just relaxed. It doesn't work for everybody. Some guys absolutely hate it, just like some guys hate DHing. They prefer to be in the field. But there is some mentality that seems to be consistent with guys that are successful as pinch hitters. A lot of times it's less thinking. It's just coming out and being aggressive. And even for Maroney, I mean, he did a good job. It was a tough pitch. It wasn't meant to be in, but it ended up being in. He took a nice hack and kept his hands in.
So Bratson at the plate, and now his chance to win the game. 0 for 3 for Cray Bratson. Maroney, the winning run down at second base. And a ball to Cray Bratson. Maroney at second. Statham really means nothing at first base. Set up the force at third, second, or first. A&M has tied it here in the bottom of the ninth with 4 runs. Now Bratson a chance to be the hero, and he's ahead in the count 2-0.
Well, just like we talked with Banks, this is extremely important for Maroney as well. Make sure you're getting a good secondary lead. They're almost definitely going to send him with 2 outs and a chance to win the game and put the pressure on LSU. Make them make a perfect throw on a base hit. That secondary lead becomes so important. That's the difference sometimes between being out and safe on a very close play.
Swing and a miss, 2-1. This is Broussard's game. Nobody in the LSU bullpen.
Well, he's pretty much looked uncomfortable for the most part from the start, but he's been the guy. And you have to trust him, and you don't want him to lose any confidence by having somebody warming up right behind him, even when he is having that off night.
2-1, and it's 2-2. 8 saves. And he came in this ninth inning. 8 saves and a .36 ERA for Broussard.
I think after seeing both of those swings, you have to stay with the hard fastball here. He hasn't looked comfortable throwing his curveball. The release point hasn't been consistent. Cray Bratson has been behind both of these fastballs. I continue to stay with an elevated fastball.
Bratson swung late, fouled it off. Two and 2 outs. And Harry's team began at this bottom of the ninth, leading 4-0. And it's 3-2.
And one of the things, too, you have to keep in mind, yes, Broussard has been so good. For all guys coming back from surgery, that first year a lot of times is hit and miss. And he has been so good and so consistent. I think what we're seeing tonight is just a little bit of the uncomfortable factor. That is totally normal for guys. And you come into this environment and feel like you have to be great all the time. It can be difficult. I've seen it so many times with guys coming back from surgery. It's usually that second year when they really catch a groove, and that's when you really see the positive effects.
3-2 pitches away, and they are loaded.
That was not even close.
The Texas A&M.
And now A&M fans, they've got the winning run 90 feet away.
And this is a 3-2 fastball here. You want to be aggressive, obviously, and you see that release point. Something to me doesn't feel right for Broussard. That's inconsistency from a guy who's been so good. That just looks out of place for me. And so now, if I'm sitting at third base aggressively, you anticipate a ball in the dirt. We've seen enough pitches that have missed the strike zone by a lot. Anticipate a potential wild pitch to win the game. If I'm hitting here, for Alomont, be patient. We're looking at a guy who is struggling to throw strikes with potentially now the winning run on third base with the bases loaded. And we see him go back to the windup, which tells me he is just not feeling comfortable tonight.
Alomont digs in on the left side. And takes ball one with the winning run at third base. And no place to put Blake Alomont.
I'm taking all the way here.
Down the left field line. Chasing a diving catch by Foster to send it to extra innings.
What a play right there. I mean, what do I know? I say take, and he puts a good swing on it. I'll take that swing every time. An outstanding play in left field by LSU, and wow, saving the game right there. This Foster.
Foster comes in late off the bench to play left field. If it gets down, A&M wins. We head to the 10th. Extra innings here in College Station. A&M with 4 in the bottom of the 9th, and then a chance to win. Alomont slicing it down the line, and Foster created this reaction. Oof. Because Jared Foster left made the game-saving play.
Oh my God! I mean, I was packing my bag. I know everybody else was thinking this game was over. Oh, it's the place. Been there. I've been there. And Foster, if you remember, hit into that big double play earlier during an LSU rally. Looked a little discouraged when we saw him earlier in the outfield, but obviously not carrying that late in the game. And that was full extension, man. That wasn't like he had room to give a little bit and tried to make that look like a good play.
He's just cool, calm, and collected now.
Yeah, great hair going.
Foster, yeah.
Have a night.
Ty Schlotman, lefty. Third pitcher of the night for A&M. 17th appearance. And a 1.48 ERA for Ty Schlotman.
And you remember that conversation we had earlier about LSU and Palmineri looking for athletes, wanting athletes on his team, and that's exactly why you want that. You're talking about a guy who has come in as a reserve, a non-starter, to be able to make a catch like that. You don't do that if you don't have good athletic ability.
Kramer Robertson awaits the 0-1. If you'd have told me that this thing would be in the 10th right now based on Nola taking this game and being dominating, taking it into the 9th, getting it out in the 9th, and then bringing in another dominant guy in the closer, Broussard. He just blew his first save. I told you were crazy with A&M down 4-0.
Absolutely, and even as Nola's 9th inning started to play out, we wondered, well, would Palmineri regret leaving him out there a little bit too long? That had nothing to do with it, because even though Nola walked, that would eventually end up being the 3rd run of the game. It didn't matter. The way Broussard came in, the way he was throwing the ball, it wouldn't have made a difference.
Swing and a miss. Down on strikes is Robertson. Good start here for Schlotman, the lefty, out of the A&M pen.
See a good fastball here. Good velocity up and away for Robertson. He's not going to be able to catch up to that. Another guy with a 3/4 arm slot. We saw it right there. We also talked about with him when we talked to Coach, a lot of off-speed this evening. And so far we've seen a couple of big fastballs. He's not afraid to go to that off-speed pitch, not afraid to pitch behind, or excuse me, backwards, where we say starting guys off with the off-speed and maybe finishing them with the fastball.
Top of the order, and now 1-1 on Andrew Stevenson.
Unless Coach Childress was setting us up because he didn't want us to give that scouting report. He told us a lot of sliders, a lot of changeups.
Sure.
We're seeing a lot of fastballs. I see you, Coach.
Wouldn't put it past him.
Whatever it takes, man. Whatever it takes. Right?
Schlotman delivers one just off the edge. 2-1. Kurt McCune, by the way, warming up in the LSU bullpen after Broussard just blew his first save of the season. Now 8 for 9, and Damian Beal with a long look into the LSU dugout. There's McCune, the right-hander. 2-1 to Stevenson, again just outside.
So we've been here now 9 innings, 10 innings, and I just noticed where the radar gun was on the board. I just assumed it wasn't there.
Hammer to right, unable to make the play out there as Paz gets away, and into second base, under the tag, is the speedy Stevenson.
Wow, and I don't know about that call from Stephen Hagan, who was coming over from third base. The ball certainly seemed like it beat him. I thought we were being a little over-aggressive on the base over here. Great swing. Let's see this replay. Stevenson, he might have got that hand in there.
I think he did.
Boy, I tell you what, that is an aggressive play in that situation. Yes, he did. It's tough to tell from that angle right there. But good for him. For you hit that ball and you think that it might be a base hit. Let's see this angle. We should get a good look on this one. Ooh, that's really close. Tough call, but I think he did get the hand in there.
No replay here, but they will use it in the SEC tournament coming up May 20th to the 25th down in Alabama.
I don't know if I love that. If you're not going to do it during the year, for me, I don't know if I love them doing it necessarily in the conference tournament. That's the
last 2 years they've used it in the College World Series, so creeping in to the college game. It's been in place for 2 years, but they've never used it, not to this point.
And that's more because what we're seeing in Major League Baseball now is the full replay and everything.
This one gets away. Good hop off the backstop. Wow. Down to third and safely in is Stevenson. Beautiful hop and well played by Stein. Like off the boards in hockey, and they just about got him at third base off this wild pitch.
Credit Stevenson here for a couple of reasons. One, for anticipating that ball being in the dirt and taking off. And two, not for pulling up once he realized it was going to be well past the catcher. Knowing the field a little bit, knowing there was that possibility the ball kicks off the wall and there was actually a play at third. Great hustle out of him so far. He's having a nice inning on the bases and as well as swinging the bat. Now the infield's going to have to come in with 1 out and being behind in the count. For Texas A&M, this would be unfortunate because they've done so much to get back in this game. Such a great 9th inning for them. Unfortunate they gave the lead up again.
Infield in on the grass for A&M. 1 out. And a go-ahead run down at third with Stevenson. 2-0 to Laird. Is at the knees for strike 1 on a late call from Beal.
In a really difficult spot here because with 1 out, do you want to set up the double play? Probably not, because you're in the middle of the lineup right now. Bregman is swinging the bat so well. You prefer your lefty get this lefty out, and maybe you make a change, or maybe you walk Bregman. Most likely would be the situation. His run does not mean as much. Then you have Sean McMullen sitting behind him, a lefty, but he has hit lefties very well this year. So here we go, cat and mouse, and we'll see who ultimately wins this battle.
Bregman awaits. He's had a big night. Homered in the first to start things for LSU. Schlotman here against Laird. 2-2, 1 out, go-ahead run at third. Chopped back to the mound. The play at the plate, safe. And LSU goes in front. And Laird and LSU benefiting from a ball that was just not hit hard enough.
I mean, what an unbelievable way to get around. How many close plays can you have with one base runner? It starts by him hustling unbelievably on the base and getting the second. That was a close play. We had somewhat of a close play on third on the wild pitch. Now he hits a little chopper back to the pitcher, another close play. And this is, again, going back to athleticism, creating runs. Yes, he did hit that ball hard to base hit, but since then, it's been all about his ability to run, read pitches in the dirt. and create havoc on the base paths.
So now Bregman with Laird at first, one out. And LSU has retaken the lead here in the top half of the 10th, and Bregman 3 for 4 with his third home run.
And here's a matchup that favors LSU heavily, especially if we see some of those off-speed pitches. We saw Bregman hammer that hanging slider in the first inning for a home run. Even though it was off a righty, coming in off a lefty, even easier. More comfortable for right-handed hitters facing a lefty who's throwing some off-speed pitches coming into him, especially the slider.
Another toss over. Laird with 6 stolen bases on the season. This one got pretty good late.
It did. I tell you what, man, I thought that was going to be it. Thought we were talking about the potential shutout. LSU going for the 14th shutout of the year. I don't know if you're blaming on me for jinxing them that last inning, but give A&M credit right here for really, we talked about it, finding a way. Scratching and clawing and battling is something they've had to do the entire season. And this would be such a huge win for them if they can now come back somehow and do it again in the 10th inning.
Bregman takes a ball. And that one hit him. Lower part of his right leg. Bregman quickly up, so first and second now. Here in the LSU 10th.
Like just a slider that was yanked. Schlotman pulling across his body just a little bit too strong, and now he gets to face the lefty. Maybe the matchup that he thinks he wants. Still keeping that double play intact would be very big. You got to keep this at 1 run. You cannot allow LSU to play another run in the center.
Ball gets away, but chased down by Stein. As you mentioned a moment ago, McMullen in the on-deck circle does hit lefties better than righties, and that's key here when you're playing this game of chess.
And usually, like I said, it means because he's good on off-speed pitches, he's good on fastballs away, has a level swing, doesn't try to overswing. We saw him take the lefty Kent earlier, ground ball up the middle.
And he swings and misses here.
Whenever you see lefties, good lefties, I always think about guys like Ichiro. Were always tough for me. Good lefty on lefty matchups because they don't try to do too much. They take what the pitcher gives them. Usually work them away. They're going to take the ball away or up the middle.
Schlotman ahead 0-2. On the ground, deep short. With the force out at second base. Good play by Alemond. And up to third base goes Laird.
Very good play by Alemond, and as that ball was hit, he was actually going toward second base. It looked like the runners were on the move a little bit and almost started to cover. But for me, that's when I hold my shortstop. When you see that good lefty and lefty, you hold your shortstop. Have him hold his position. You have the second baseman cover. And luckily, he still hit his able to get to it.
Schlotman able to get the second out there. LSU has retaken the lead here in the 10th. Andrew Vinson in out of the pen. Right-hander Andrew Vinson out of the A&M pen. 1-1 with the 2.57 and 2 saves.
And really good numbers here. And one of the things that jumps out to me right away is the 16 hits in 28 innings. And a lot of times that many hits or that few hits, you expect the walks to come up. That is not the case here. And so you know for Andrew Vinson, it's been a good season. And that's why I say we've talked about a great ratio. 28 strikeouts to just 6 walks, nearly 5-to-1. it's phenomenal. You usually want your guys to be somewhere around 2-1 if they can. Anything over that is really good. And also play the field. Talk about another position player, and he's done both in his career for this club, but now a position player on the mound shows good athleticism, good versatility. He's been great as a pitcher this year.
Foster steps to the plate now. This is what he did in the bottom of the ninth.
It's unbelievable. Every time I watch it, it gets better every time.
Saved the game. A&M had struck for 4 in the bottom of the ninth to tie the game at 4. And that would have won the game. But Foster, the catch, batting only 120, gets an at bat here with LSU having pushed 1 across to retake the lead here in the 10th. And they're at the corners with 2 outs, and he can add 1 or 2 more right here as Foster takes strike 1.
Well, again, another crucial time in the game for A&M, and we've talked about this a couple times for them, and they continue to find ways to keep themselves in it. But they cannot allow another run to score in this situation, because now going into potentially the bottom of the 10th, they can play for 1 run. They can use the bunt if they can get the leadoff man on. When you're down by more than that, you cannot.
Cole Langford to the bag himself for the 3rd out. But LSU retakes the lead. Bottom of the 10th, A&M needs another rally. Well, the bottom of the 9th, A&M came to the plate, down 4-0. Get a sac fly off the bat of Cole Langford to get things going, and then a ball to the backstop. Pinch runner Moss able to score. Jonathan Maroney, pinch hitter, in off the bench for the Aggies. Brings in another 2, in fact, to tie the game at 4. He was able to get into scoring position. So then A&M with a chance here. The bases loaded to not just tie the game, but win the game. And a diving catch by Foster, who would come in late off the bench in left field.
If they can't pull the magic out here again in the 10th inning, they're going to be thinking about that play for a long time, because ultimately that's the play that stopped them from beating Aaron Nola. Even though he wasn't on the mound, that's the way to look at it. He started this game. The guy who's been phenomenal all season, and think that they could actually pick up a win against him would have been a nice boost. But they have a chance here. Broussard struggled. He's back out there surprisingly. I thought he would have been out of the game. 3 walks you saw in just those 2/3 of an inning last inning. So an opportunity here potentially again.
J.B. Moss pinch ran and scored one of those key runs in the bottom of the 9th. And now he hits for the first time. Aaron Nola was dominant. Got in some trouble in the bottom of the 9th. Left after 8 1/3. We mentioned earlier we might see Broussard for 2 innings tonight. Not sure this is exactly what we thought we'd see or what Paul Maneri wanted. LSU with a couple of pitchers warming up. Zach Person and Kurt McCune. As Moss, you see his season numbers. Right now it's still Broussard's game. Blew his first save of the year, and now trying to nail it down in the 10th and get the win.
Well, I'll tell you right now, for me, if he walks the leadoff hitter, you absolutely have to take him out. You're talking about 4 walks over the course of 2/3 of the inning. That cannot happen out of your closer. He certainly did not look comfortable last inning. He battled through it, got lucky with a great defensive play. But for me, he just doesn't have it tonight, and that's going to happen. I get him out of the game and I go to somebody else. You need strikes. You cannot walk the leadoff hitter in the 10th inning. It just hasn't been there today for Joe Broussard.
So Moss draws a leadoff walk. And Maneri out for a visit. And that does it for Broussard. You said it, just didn't have it. And now they'll go to the lefty, Zach Person. Trying to protect a 5-4 lead in the bottom of the 10th. Zach Pearson in, 2-1, 3.32 ERA.
And pretty good numbers here out of left-hander. Walks a little bit high, but we talked about trying to be right around 2-1 in the strikeout to walk ratio. I think that's a little bit more reasonable. That's where he is. Certainly for Joe Broussard, his numbers were better than that coming in, and he didn't have it. So at any moment, certainly that can stray you. But you bring your lefty in here, and you need strikes, and you have to think about now, how is Texas A&M going to play this? Are they going to play for the 1 run, sacrifice him over? I told you I'm not a big believer in the bump, but this is a good time for it as far as I'm concerned. Get that runner in scoring position and take 2 chances at trying to drive him in. We'll see. how A&M and Rob Childress are going to play this. Difficult pass sometimes, lefty on lefty bunting, especially if you got some good velocity or some good movement. It'll be very tough for a guy like Langford to try to get a bunt down. So we'll see how they play.
Langford had a sac fly to bring in one of A&M's 4 runs in the bottom of the 9th. He's the guy we talked about that has set the tone for the 2nd straight year offensively for A&M. We mentioned him in the open, and now a chance again with the tying run at first base, leadoff walk by J.B. Moss. Lefty here, Pearson against Langford.
And if you're thinking about wondering, well, as McClendon tried to swipe this bag, even though he is a 2-hole hitter, just 1 for 2 in stolen base attempts. So that's probably, Moss is in there. That's my bad. So Moss is 6 for 7. So that changes it a little bit. But with the thing you take away is if you get him on the move is that you take away that hole you have on the right side now. So again, figuring out what each team likes to do. We know A&M talked about wanting to put the pressure on the defense. That's what Coach had told us earlier this week. And you do that by hitting and running and putting runners in motion. That's the way you can make things happen.
1-1 on Langford. Tying run at first, nobody out. Bottom of the 10th. Laced into left field. Base hit. Moss to second base. 2 men on, nobody out. A&M.
What a great job by Langford right there. Facing that lefty. We talked about him being a bad ball hitter, can go out of the strike zone a little bit. This is what you do against left-handed pitching. Don't try to do too much. It's a fastball down. It's not a terrible pitch. Located kind of middle away, but he does a good job not trying to pull the ball and roll over it. That's how you usually get those lefties out. Stay with it. That 1-1 count, drive the ball to left field. That's a good looking at bat right there when you try to project guys, especially hitters, become so difficult. What can they do at the next level? For me, that's a really good looking swing when I see a guy who can handle a left-handed pitcher like that. It's a good sign. And more importantly for A&M, now the winning run at first base. And this is where it gets weird because you're in the middle of your order. You talked about this, and we're seeing the trend in college baseball. And you have another left-handed hitter coming up in Nick Banks, who's 0 for 3 with a strikeout. He has a walk today. You want him bunting right here. Guy's hitting 343 coming into tonight, now 336 with a couple of home runs. You want him to lay down a sack?
Clean up man. We'll find out.
You can drive him in.
Nobody out. A&M 1 for 4 tonight with runners in scoring position. Tying run at second. Winning run at first. Shows bunt early. And Banks takes it in the dirt for ball 1.
And I tell you, watching him square right there, did not look particularly comfortable, and it's probably something that he has not been asked to do very often. These guys, I coach, little kids and little guys, 13, 14, and I tell my big boys, yeah, we want you to be able to bump it. At the end of the day, we're probably not going to ask you to do it too much, and a lot of times I have a feeling that for Banks, he has not been asked to bunt too many times in really his entire career to this point.
Now he calls time. Let's see if he squares again here with a 1-0 count.
And if he does bunt here, you're trying to get a hard bunt to third base. You want the third baseman to field this ball so that runner can coast right to third base.
Another ball in the dirt. It's 2-0. So now, turn him loose on 2-0.
Either turn him loose, or if you're going to give him the take, then I do the fake bunt take. One of two things here. More for me, because of where he's hitting in the lineup, I'm having him zone in on one spot of the zone. You're looking for whatever pitch you like. If it's fastball, middle away, middle in, you look for that one pitch, and if you see it, you attack it. Otherwise, you let it go.
Pearson out to the mound. Should say Maneri out to the mound to take the ball from Pearson. Kurt McCune, right-hander, out of the LSU bullpen in the middle of an at-bat. 2-0 count when we come back. Kurt McCune makes his 24th appearance here tonight, trying to, again, shut this one down, but he's got his hands full in the 10th.
He does, and to inherit a 2-0 count, I don't love this move. I understand why Paul Maneri did it, but what this does is this lets your team know you're panicked a little bit, and you're a little bit nervous, and you're not comfortable with what's going on. I've never liked coming in the middle of a count. I've done it a couple of times. Sometimes it's because of an injury. I did it when I played in Asia. They didn't care at all. They put you in the middle of the count, take you out in the middle of a count. I don't like this at all. The mentality is so different. You're so used to the way that you approach certain hitters, and now here you are in a 2-0 count that you didn't create, and your strategy changes a little bit because you want to be almost perfect. You don't want to walk, but at the same time, you don't want to give in 2-0 because you're in the middle of the lineup. The ball in the gap in this game is over. So for LSU right now, backs against the wall. A little bit of a tough spot here. Paul Maneri probably gives the best move to make, but I certainly don't like it.
2-0 count. And Banks swinging away. In the air left, Foster hauls it in for the first out. Moss back to second, Langford back to first.
And that's why Paul Maneri is an ABCA Hall of Famer. Sure. And I'm sitting here in the booth watching a Hall of Famer, and he's teaching me how to coach college baseball. So obviously it works out, and still in a good position now. With only one out, runners at first and second. They don't bunt. They don't get the bunt down or for whatever reason take. Now the double plays in play. And an opportunity to end this game on one pitch.
If you're just joining us, LSU led 4-0 in the bottom of the ninth. A&M got 4 to tie it. LSU retook the lead at 5-4 in the top of the 10th, and now A&M trying to tie or win it right here with Ryan Burke at the plate. Tying run at second, winning run at first. Play by Moore behind the plate. Rob Childress in the A&M dugout. Paul Maneri
pacing
LSU dugout.
Been a tough one. He thought this game was going to be over about 30 minutes ago.
Trying to set the tone in game 1 of this series. Grounder, first base. Hale to the bag himself. Runners move up. But LSU gets out number 2 as Moss into third base and Langford into second.
Well, for Connor Hale, playing it safe there. Now, there was an opportunity to get an out at second base. It's a little bit more difficult throw. There's certainly a lot higher risk if you don't make that throw and the ball goes into the outfield. This game is at least tied, potentially. So he plays it safe and he takes the out at first base. Now, hopefully, for LSU, that doesn't come back to hurt them, because you'd like to see him be able to make that throw to second base and at least keep the winning run out of scoring position.
They will intentionally walk Stein. The tying run now at third and the winning run at second. So a base hit could win this. Logan Notabrook get his first at bat of the night as soon as they put Stein aboard. There's Notabrook right there.
This is an interesting call. If you have guys struggling with control just a little bit. Loading the bases, obviously a walk in this game is tied. And you look at the numbers and you say, all right, well, Stein's hitting 289 and Notabrook only 237. Notabrook 21 RBIs. Stein 17, so he's found a way to get runs in. You got to think a guy that probably gives you some pesky at bats, a .452 slugging percentage. That's second on the team. But maybe there's something in that bat. There's probably a lot of swings and misses, is why we see the low batting average. But certainly the potential. He leads his team with 5 home runs. So there's some power.
Nice. Absolutely.
So this gets just a little bit more interesting.
A little dicey here. They're loaded up. Tying run at third, winning run at second. First pitch to Notabrook. Strike 1 from McCune.
And how important is that with the bases loaded to come out and throw that first pitch strike and a quality one on the corner? Don't want to fall behind when you know the guy has a lot of power.
2 walk-off home runs this year for Notabrook.
Oh.
The 0-1. A ball and a strike.
Now, there's always an old adage in baseball is that you finish a game away, and meaning that you don't give a guy a pitch to drive, to pull, especially when you're looking at winning runs or potential winning runs and tying runs on base. And so far we've seen 2 fastballs away. If you do go in, you got to be very careful and make sure you get it in. When you see a guy with a low batting average and some high power numbers, chances are he's a dead pull guy. That's usually what happens with those kind of guys. They don't spray the field, and that's why the batting average is so low, as opposed to a guy like Bregman, who we've seen hit line drives all over the ballpark, to left, to right, and to center today. And so for me, I continue to stay away, but if you're going to go in, make sure you get it in there.
2-1.
Now the breaking ball away. For me, you got to throw this fastball. It's very similar to that first one that you threw. Let it be middle away. Can't be too perfect. Don't want to fall behind 3-1. Trust your stuff. Trust your defense. Tying run just 90 feet away. Winning run at second base with the opportunity to get a big lead as nobody's holding him on.
Notabrook in on the fists, and it's 2-2, and A&M down to their final strike.
And you saw the reaction from Notabrook right there. He would like to have had another shot at that pitch, because there was a fastball being middle in. If you're dead pull guys, that's what they're looking for. Now he's got to be smart. 2 strikes, so you don't want to try to hit this ball over the scoreboard. A base hit will win this game, assuming there's a good secondary lead off of second base.
2-2, 2 out. Bottom of the 10th. Notabrook in the air to right. Laird, the catch, and the game is over. McCune able to close the door in the 10th, and LSU survives game 1 of this series.
A big exhale for them, because obviously they thought they had this game wrapped up in the 9th. Very uncharacteristic for Joe Broussard. Not pitch well to walk guys, to basically blow that lead in the 4th inning because he was so ineffective. LSU bails him out. And in all the injustices of baseball, he gets the win in this game, which makes absolutely no sense.
We saw a phenomenal performance by Aaron Nola, the starter for LSU. A&M with a tremendous 9th inning rally. We saw Jared Foster save the game then in the bottom of the 9th for LSU. And then the Tigers win it in the 10th. And McCune closes the door. Once again, a final score, 5-4 LSU wins for C.J. Nitkowski and our entire crew. I'm Brent Stover. For scores, highlights, features, and more, go to CBSSports.com. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. So long from College Station, Texas. We thank you for watching an absolute thriller in the SEC.